I'm going to save that photo to my camera roll, just of you. And I better not see you the same exact person this time next year. Mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, you better not be the same person. And just so I know, and just so you know, I want you to put your goals, the person you're going to be this time next year, I want you to visualize that. Do not make this another year of wasted potential.
Yo, bro, are you maxing right now?
I'm literally maxing right now.
Holy shit, 99 agility? I've
always wanted
99
agility.
Congrats, 99 agility.
Mining?
I'm in a bus! Come on, you're ending me!
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's done it!
Okay, so I asked ChatGPT to write me it's been so long. I haven't done a podcast in such a long time. I asked ChatGPT to write me an intro to this podcast. I kind of told him what it's about. And then I told her right from like my perspective. Dill's the host, write it from my perspective. This is what it gave me. Adventurers. Welcome back to the Wilderness Podcast, your ultimate no XP waste. I don't even think we're allowed to say that. Tick perfect source for all things old school RuneScape. I'm your host, the sweatiest, most caffeinated Gillenorian out there, too busy splashing on rats to shower and too deep in the grind to eat anything but leftover pizza crust and energy drinks. What the hell? Whether you're fishing, it's not even done. Whether you're fishing for sharks, fletching 10K maple longbows, or still doing the Inferno run because Zuck keeps clapping your cheeks, what the hell? This is the place for you. Here, we theorycraft metas, cry about RNG, and roast Jagex for forgetting we exist unless we crash the servers. So bank your gear, grab your weight-reducing clothing, and load up those stamina potions because today's episode is going to be a banger. We're diving into insert episode topic here, and of course, sprinkling in tales of my perpetual 83 Slayer grind. That's so random. What the hell's level 83 Slayer for?
I don't even think you unlock anything.
This is all right. No more talking to NPCs. Let's get this journey started. God, that's...
Oh, 83 is spiritual mages, so I guess dragon boots.
Okay, that's very specific. Gosh,
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know if that was a mistake or what.
I'm not gonna lie. I think you should word for word open with that. That was amazing.
We'll keep it in. Trey, how's it going? It's been a little bit, but we're here to record a pretty exciting episode. This is like the year end or maybe the year start episode. We're going to look back on 2024 and talk about all the updates that have been going on and all the news of RuneScape. But then we're also, I think, let's talk about how our year's been, because it's been a pretty weird year for both of us, I would say. How's your 2024 been?
Well, I don't think it would be hyperbole to say 2024 has been the biggest year I've had in RuneScape.
I'd say so. Because it started off right at the beginning of the year in like February.
Well, it kind of started off in December of 23 into January, where I started recording on a podcast. This is actually...
No way!
Yeah, weird. No, this is my 1 year anniversary because our first episode together was 2023 year in review. So... Wow. Yeah, no, that's been amazing. And I maxed my account, something I've been wanting to do essentially my whole life. And then I did the last thing I ever expected to do, which was completely abandon that account and started an Iron Man and discovered that that's the game mode I prefer now. So yeah, it's
let me jump in. Let's talk about the maxed main for a second. So because you maxed your main account, and I don't think you even touch it anymore. Do you?
It's a great scout. I use it to hold money and for splits and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I told myself, because I created the iron before I maxed, and I think a lot of people do that when they get into some of those really dull AFK late maxing grinds, and I'll just send them at sand crabs and stuff. And so then when I kind of committed to the iron, and my definition of committing to the iron was when I logged onto it on mobile, because I was like, all right, this is the one I'm going to play when I'm, on mobile, because it's such a pain in the ass to switch accounts.
Such a pain in the ass.
And I was like, okay, so I'm committing to the iron, but my main, I'm going to park him at amethyst until I get because that's the only AFK skilling pet I didn't have, is the rock golem. And yeah, that was it. Just I do not enjoy multi-logging.
Me neither.
So, yeah,
Me neither.
I play everything on a ultra wide monitor, but I only have the one monitor, which these days is like a crime.
Yeah, it's so small.
But so if I do 2 accounts, it's my entire screen, and you don't get to do the whole Netflix, YouTube kind of a thing.
Sure.
So yeah, I just much prefer having my RuneScape on half of my screen, and then whatever ADHD thing I want to do on the other side of my screen. And so yeah, I just the main just kind of slowly, and it really was just kind of that disillusionment with GP, and everything is money, and trying to see everything as I'm gonna get a 10 mil drop, which is like 140th of a mega rare, which is what I'm working towards, and breaking everything down in percentages like that. And so then obviously the early game, well, I don't really enjoy the early game, but like that mid game just is so much fun on any account. And obviously we'll talk a lot about how they've made so many improvements to that. And so, yeah, it just grabbed me. And now I've gotten past the hurdles of early game RuneScape, which is basically, I got early quests done, and I got my POH to where I can just zip around the map. And that's when RuneScape becomes fun, when you're not having to walk everywhere and, wait for your mini game teleport to reset so you can get where you need to go.
So, okay, so you've basically left your main account. Do you how you spent so much time on that main account? How does that bother you at all? How do you feel when you reflect on maxing the main that you don't play anymore?
I mean, no, it doesn't bother me. There'll come a day when my maxed Iron Man and my maxed main can just stand next to each other. I see maxing as beating the game, which is probably a opinion that is controversial to a lot of people. And, for people have different kind of win conditions with this game, or there's no possible way to win it. But I don't know. I found out very quickly. It's just going for, because all you really can do is go for collection logs after you max. Obviously there are some very intense collection logs, like an Infernal Cape and stuff like that. But yeah, at this point, all I really foresee doing on my main is when I am ready on my iron to do some of those like Infernal and stuff, I'll get it on my main first, just so I can use up all of my resources in an easier way. Just kind of burn through that. And I don't know, maybe some if I have to, if for the clan or something, if we're doing like a learner event and I need, an account with better gear and stuff to help a learner out and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't keep me up at night at all. I kind of think it's funny, honestly. Just people work so hard for max, and I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to see your Iron Man next, but, we'll see.
Well, you had a goal on that account, and you completed it, and it's like, now what? You're
exactly
done. For some people, I think that's the thing about RuneScape. You often complete a goal, and then you have this. Usually, you have a next thing in front of you, but sometimes you just don't. You're like, well, I guess that's it. And I've had that even on a low level Iron account, where you're like, my goal is to get to Barrows, and now I'm at Barrows, and it's like, okay, now what? I guess I just do this until I have everything from it. I don't know, but the motivation tanks, and I had that issue with. A previous leagues where my goal was to do raiding for the first time. And I was so excited to start raiding. I get all this gear, do my first raid, and I go, I don't have a goal after this moment. And now I don't feel like raiding anymore because I've only done it once. Even though that for a lot of people, the game is just beginning when you're starting to raid. It's just I didn't have anything past that point. So, I mean, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've it's funny how every goal, the bigger the goal is, the longer the time period is before you can get excited about whatever your next goal is. Cause like even like I've been doing diaries on my main or on my iron, and like I got the Lumbridge and Corinne Elite diaries. And then, yeah, it's just like you just bank stand for like an hour or a day or something where you're just like, all right, what do I do now? Like I was so focused on this.
Yeah. I'm having that issue. I know we're talking about your year, but I'm having that issue on my iron right now where I'm doing perilous moons. It's, like it's this, I don't know if it's better than Barrows, but the gear from it is like, people find a lot of use for a lot of pieces of the moon gear. And so anyways, that was my big goal, was I'm going to do all these things. And it's all going to lead to being able to do moons. And I'm finally at moons doing it. And I'm like, okay, do I just keep running this until I get the gear? I don't really know why I want this gear because I don't have a goal after moons yet. So that's what I need to do, because if I get, the Blood Rager or whatever it's called, the Blood Moon Tassets, the legs, it's like 10 mil. I don't know why exactly I'm going to get it, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to kill next that I'm going to need to use this, which I know it could be just like anything, but still, I don't have a goal past moons. And it's like making the moon grind a little bit harder to do because it feels a little bit pointless right now.
Yeah, no, I think for me, what's been really helpful with that is my love affair with Tob that I've had on this account, because pretty much any of the upgrades I could get from my account will be upgrades for Tob. And so it's like, specifically, the Blood Moon Tassets, because I've been, I'm fully wearing Void. I don't have a melee armor swap for Tob right now. And I've been kind of pushing towards that. And so it's been like, I need the Basilisk Jaw. I want like a fighter torso and like the Blood Moon Tassets. And then I would have like a really good, melee gear swap. And then like, I want a blowpipe so I can do RDPS as a roll. And I want like an occult and a Torm Ninja bracelet for like freezing rolls and stuff. And so that's been kind of my center point of any PVM upgrades. And it's been kind of pushing me. And it's also like, when in doubt, go to Slayer, because I'm 91 Slayer now. So I'm really coming up on some of those big, big PVM upgrades. And so that it's all progress from that standpoint. But, I've been trying to send Zora, trying to send CG, any of those things that are just all in the service of that end goal of Tob and other raids. I want to get into, if I get a Bofa, I want to go hard into Toa, hard into Cox, but yeah,
that's cool. So your iron's already out there raiding. It sounds like your iron's maybe not deep in the end game, but do you think you're towing that line between the mid game and end game?
Yeah, well, like the reason I've been tobbing so much is because it's the least, like the lowest gear requirements. And specifically, I don't need a Bofa for it. And so, yeah, I've been avoiding Toa and Cox because I don't have to, like those, I feel like I need certain pieces of gear, like hard, like need, even though I know I don't, but like it feels like I do. So I've been avoiding those, but like also like really trying to get into those like mid-level bosses that I need the drops from, like Zulrah, like Muspa. I've been finding it kind of funny. Like I understand like prayer levels, but have felt like no reason to go to Vorkath on an iron, which is sad because Vorkath is one of my favorite bosses. But besides the superior bones, it's just supplies, I guess. But
Vorkath. I was thinking Zulrah. Yeah. I got an ear infection, so I'm gonna blame that for any like misspeaks or missed thoughts. If I go any like crazy rants and I start like, let's blame it on the ear infection medication. It's just polysporin. That's all. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. That's surprising because I don't really know. I guess I don't know what Vorkath drops. Let's look it up. What does Vorkath drop? That's interesting. And I think the tough part with Vorkath is like the uniques. Like they're not like must-haves, I guess, which is nice, but it's so rare that like who's even grinding those out? Let's be serious.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at it. Yeah, there is a lot of junk. There's bones for your prayer. That's cool. There's dragon hide for crafting. That's cool. There's some runes, and then there's a lot of alkables, and then you get a ton of bolt tips, which is actually like that's super useless.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of bolt tips. Like, what the hell are you going to do with emerald bolts?
One of the biggest things that has struck me as an Iron Man, and maybe it's because I have progressed enough in the account, but it's been surprising to me how little I've been struggling for a lot of resources and stuff, like gems, for example. Like I have never felt like I'm out of gems. And maybe that's because I've been doing so much Slayer and stuff. But yeah, like bolt tips and stuff, I could make a lifetime supply of ruby and diamond bolt tips just with what I have in my bank right now. And I expected, I was thinking with iron, it would be like, man, I got to get, I need 10 rubies. I got to go find a way to get so I can make some bolt tips. And then, obviously early game, there's some of that, but kind of, I feel pretty much self-sustained on that kind of stuff. There's obviously spots here and there that are just like, you just got to go grind out 100 more salve amulets or whatever. And that's, it's just part of the game. But for the most part, like general supplies, food, prayer potions, that kind of stuff, I have not really struggled with as much as I thought I would.
It almost, it feels off when you're like I'm constantly running out of iron ore because I don't want to mine it and nothing I'm killing is dropping it. But it's just like funny to have like so much mithril, so much addy, even a ton of runite ore. But I'm like sitting there hurting on iron ore for steel bars and stuff. And you're like,
I will 100% agree with that. Yeah. I have felt that with iron ore. Like I guess I just got to go get it because it doesn't seem to, I have 15,000 coal and it's like, do I really want to go mine 15,000 iron ore so I can make 15,000 steel bars and then I can make 60,000 cannonballs? Like, I don't know if I have that in me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, big year. You're playing your iron a bunch. Started doing the podcast. Max the main. Any other is there even any room for more milestones? What else could have happened?
Well, I mean, another big milestone is like I became a mod in the clan.
True. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's been a big year.
Me.
Became a mod in the clan, and I've been a part of like events and stuff, and just been really. I mean, I've met all kinds of people this year that have been raiding with me. We've been watching movies together, playing games together, and stuff. Made some friends. And yeah, I mean, just. It's been great. I mean, that side of things, like the clan side of things, just kind of having more opportunities to be like, hey, this is an event that people would like to do. And then, you get to know people and get to have fun with them. And obviously that just all feeds into each other because then that adds to me looking forward to log on. Even if I'm doing something stupid, I know I can hop in voice chat and hang out with some guys, even if I'm just, mining or something.
Yeah, totally. I don't know if we even really talk about it that much. I don't think. But like, yeah, we have a whole team of like mods and people who like, event community guides, I forget what we call them, but people who are like just working on the back end stuff of the clan. They moderate things and they're making events and all that fun stuff too. And a lot of work going on there. So we do appreciate everyone and glad you're able to hop on board. But also for anyone else who's listening, who's like, oh, I want to help out with events, just like reach out to a mod or ask. And we always need help with events, making events and other things like that. So feel free to just reach out and we'll get you involved or something.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. I'm trying to think. Could there be more that went on? Is this the year of Trey?
It's been a good year. I mean, IRL, I got super into board games. I bought a fuck ton of board games this year, to the point where I've had to make a New Year's resolution to not buy any board games and to actually play the ones I bought. Which for for a lot of different hobbies, people can laugh at that because that's a lot of people's resolutions for pretty much every hobby is just to stop buying new stuff and actually enjoy the stuff you have. But then that did bleed into RuneScape as well, where we were having those board game nights and stuff, and kind of trying to get those going again. But no, yeah, it's been a really good year, I'd say. And honestly, until we're kind of putting it all out there like this, I might not have said that. But yeah, it's been. I would definitely put it into the good year category.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's funny when you kind of. I had the same feeling when I looked at all the RuneScape updates, and you realize like, holy crap, like this came out this year. This has been a huge year. I also find that as we get older, I know a lot of people feel this way, but like just the time it starts feeling differently. You know, my kid's 3 years old now. He's starting to talk back. He's getting a little lippy. No one told me that was going to happen. I'm just kidding. Of course I knew it was going to happen. But it's unbelievable the passing of time. It sounds, I feel so friggin' old, like an old man saying that, but it's just like, it blows my mind, man. Time's going by way too fast. Christmas was already 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks maybe. No, 2 weeks. But still, that's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other big thing from my life with the passage of time. I turned 30 a month ago, and so that was
the dirty 30s.
Yep. And yeah, we were sick through all of Christmas, so it didn't feel like Christmas. It didn't feel like New Year's, and it's kind of funny. We're recording this the first snow we've had here in Kansas. So it's like the first time a month after that it actually feels like Christmas time because we have some snow.
And you don't normally get snow.
It's pretty rare. But yeah, it always feels like it's like hot on Thanksgiving and like pretty. I should clarify American Thanksgiving in November. And then yeah, it's like usually pretty moderate on Christmas, and then January through like April it gets real nasty. But yeah, we're getting our first snow right now. I'm kind of excited, except for I'm an adult and I have to drive to work tomorrow, and I'm not excited about that.
Got the snow tires on?
No, but I do have 4-wheel drive in my truck that I'll turn on for the first time this year.
Nice. Nice. Always fun. I hate driving in the snow, but whatever. Yeah, it's been a pretty fun year. When I think about my year, like in a nutshell, it's been, I guess, kind of a weird one. It's been very, I don't even know. Like, for some reason, when I think of 2024, it feels like a digital stutter. Does that make sense? It's probably, I'm probably not going to be able to explain this.
Like a glitch
I just
in
feel
the
it's been a lot of
Matrix,
like, I don't know, but just a lot of starting and stopping on my end. Like, I feel like I was playing my main. When I think about RuneScape, I was playing my main, and then I'm probably going to blame you for this because you probably are the one that got me playing my iron. It's hard, my memory's so bad these days. But I started playing like my 807 account. So I've always had this problem of like, I like making snowflake accounts, and I like playing accounts that are like a little different because I get bored of my main account. I want to play a new account, but I don't want to just redo everything I did on my main, but on a new account. So like right away, almost always, whenever I got put on my account, like playing a low level iron just wasn't even a question. I focused on other accounts. And so I had this 807 account, which was an Iron Man, but it was combat only. So no training, any skills of any sort. And I started playing that account a bunch because I think you were just talking about playing an iron. And I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. I actually want to play an iron, but I don't want to play a regular iron. I want to play my 807. So having a lot of fun with that. And I actually had this goal of like, unlocking the, what's the leaf bladed axe, which is like this, tier 50, I think. Is that the level it's at?
Yeah. I think so.
Anyways, I think it's like, just less good than a dragon scimitar, or is it better than a dragon scimitar?
I think it probably depends on application.
True. Okay. Anyways, it was just going to be a new best in slot weapon for myself. So that was my goal I set, and I finally got the weapon, and I was like, awesome. Like, now what? And then I talked about it like 10 minutes ago. I didn't have any goals after that. So then I was like, and then I like started thinking like, what if I just play on a regular Iron account? Which is ultimately what I ended up doing. But the reason I wasn't doing that was because I did have an Iron, but I had the goal of like completing a lot of the quests because there's just so many quests in this game you got to do. And I would just get burnt out while I was doing that because it's not very fun. The early game of an Iron Man I find not that enjoyable. Trey, do you like the early game?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about how the early game's fun because you're leveling up everything. But like I was saying earlier, when I can't teleport, and if I don't have a decent POH, it drives me crazy. And doing all those, I mean, that's what last leagues, it was like you have to do Cook's Assistant, and that was like it takes 5 seconds, but like, man, I gotta do this early quest again. Like there's just that there's those certain quests that I've done like 10 times because like the first ones you do when you start a new account, and I'm like, man, not this one again. Mm-hmm. And it always kind of turns me away from it.
Yeah, and like everything's just slow. Like I know you're gaining levels really fast, but if I have to go catch like a shrimp and it takes me like 10 seconds, it takes longer than 10 seconds sometimes. It takes like a minute just to chop down a normal tree sometimes. Like it's a little brutal. The game's kind of like can feel slow paced as it is. The early game I find extremely slow. So I struggled with it. I found it very boring on my Iron, but I finally stuck with it and I pushed through it, and then I opened up the mid game and it was like, the angels sang. There was just so much to do, and I was like, oh my god, this is so much fun. All this content is great. There's so much new things to do. When I played my main, there wasn't hunting rumors or Guardians of the Rift or like wilderness agility, like the new wilderness agility update they did. All of these different things that I was like, oh, I can do this, and this is gonna be really fun. And I've been having a great time since. So yeah, started my Iron, kind of doing what you did. Like I'm not really playing my main right now, but I'm still paying for both memberships. I need to cancel one of them because they're so friggin' expensive now. But it's just kind of sitting there collecting dust. And I asked you earlier how you felt about it, but I kind of feel the same way as you. Like I don't feel like I wasted my time with my main. It's still there. I will definitely be probably playing it at some point. It's a weird sentence to say. But yeah, I do feel like one day I'll be raiding on it a bunch or something.
Well, and one aspect of that you have your main for that I will never care for is you have your main if you ever want to go PKing.
That's true. Yeah, PKing, which is something I do enjoy doing as well. So yeah, that's a good point. The main there is perfect for that. But yeah, having a lot of fun on the Iron, still like in the mid game. And then just like I guess maybe I feel like the digital stuttering comes in is I was playing my Iron a bunch, but then I really slowed down. Like I kind of dialed back my computer gaming, and it's probably because I work from home and I work on my computer all day. So I really dialed that a bunch. And then I noticed myself most of my RuneScape playing time was on mobile. And then they came out with this like mobile update that we're going to talk about later. And it's just like, oh man, what an awesome update. It really made playing mobile more enjoyable. And so I haven't really done a whole lot of milestones, but there's been a lot of new things happening, mostly just this new Iron Man. And then when I look at my real life, I got a puppy. That's pretty big. She's a handful. She's like, oh my God, she's like a teenage in her like peak teenager phase. And she is insane. Like, oh my God, she eats everything. Oh God. But she's a pretty good puppy. And then I got into Warhammer, which I think is a big chapter because I went deep into Warhammer 40K, started buying the models and minis and painting them and building them, and really got into the lore, like listening to a ton of the audiobooks and super into like Warhammer stuff. So if you're into Warhammer, you want to talk about it, let's friggin' do it because it's an awesome, it's such a cool hobby. So yeah, deep into that too. And I guess that's I'm probably forgetting some like major things, but that's probably good enough. So yeah, it's been a fun year. It's just been kind of steady. Things have been busy. IRL's been a bit busy, but things have been going steadily. It's been a good year as well. It's just, it's kind of on par for the course. But in terms of RuneScape, we've definitely had a huge year in terms of updates and things happening to the game. So why don't we dive right into it? All right, so let's take a look at 2024 and let's talk about like all the updates. Let's see how well this year actually was in terms of updates, because sometimes like it's hard to know how like the year feels until you're sitting down looking at everything that happened. And there was a few years where, like, you would look at the list of updates and you're like, there's nothing. There's like really nothing to add to a list. Like the list was so small. But I don't know, Trey, what do you think? Is this one of those years?
I think without like really looking and comparing, I think there's an argument to be made that this is top 3 best years for updates in the game.
It does feel like almost a tonal shift happened. Not maybe not a tone shift, but like I don't know. Like it just feels like it's in such a good place right now for the game, and like I think the stats would back it up because we hit some new milestones for player count, like over 215,000 people online at a single time. That's a new milestone that we haven't hit before, which is huge, especially when you look at the player population charts. When you look at like some of the charts for the whole entirety of RuneScape, it's the steady growth, man. It's pretty crazy. So let's take a look at the updates. Oh, sorry. So we're still reflecting on the year.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, I almost would, the way I think about it and would word it is, I feel like it was actually like a philosophy change from the design team, because it really seems like they shifted their mindset to like just really looking at what the game needs and where they can, like, it was the year of filling in the gaps, you know. And they kind of took a step back and was like, all right, instead of like really just building off the end of the game, let's start filling it all in. And how are we going to grow the game? Well, let's make it fun from the beginning as opposed to all at the end, which has been great, especially making a new account. It's been so good.
You know, I think you're right. I think it's the philosophy might have shifted. And I almost maybe this is the polysporin talking. I'm all hopped up on the polysporin for the ear infection, right? But so getting into Warhammer, I feel like when I'm really into like another hobby, I find any chance I can to like compare the two. So bear with me. But one thing that I find so fascinating about Warhammer is that like it's such like a weird hobby or setting, or it's such a weird thing because like it's these like little tabletop miniatures you build and paint, but there's all of these novels that talk about these different armies and help tell all these stories of these characters that you're building. Then there's like video games that are made. Then there's like other board games and other different types of games, but there's a tabletop game that you play with it as well. And then on top of that, you have like TV shows being made, and like Secret Level came out on Prime and they had a Warhammer episode, which is really badass, by the way. I saw it like 8 times. You should go check it out. But it has like all of these like weird things going for it that kind of link it together. And so then you have these people who like Warhammer, but they hate painting. So all they do is they just read the novels. Or you have all these people who love playing the game, but they don't care about the novels or anything. So they just buy the models and the rules for the games and they start playing it. But like there's like all these different areas for this weird hobby. Like you can be into playing it, you can be into painting it, you can be into just building it, yada yada yada. And I feel like RuneScape started doing like similar stuff, or I should say Jagex did, because you know we have old school RuneScape, but now they're like they're doing like the whole API plugin that we're going to talk about, where people can start making tools for the game itself. So it's much more like player involved than it was before. But then on top of that, like they've already started integrating old school RuneScape's wiki into like the official game, and they integrated RuneLite into the official game. And then we saw them coming out with these board games, and then they came out with these new novels we're going to talk about later, and these graphic novels. And then they have all of these like music playlists they're coming out with, whether it's like lo-fi hip hop or lo-fi hip hop, or maybe metal or trap music. And then you have this other thing that we're going to talk about in a bit too. It's the Project Xanaris, where they're making all of these custom made servers people can play in. Like, it's almost like they're like expanding a little bit, and they're not focusing on like specifically you and I as like a RuneScape player, but like what else would we enjoy that could be RuneScape, but not maybe the game itself. I don't even know. Maybe it's the polysporin talking.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
It's interesting. And maybe they've always been like this, but yeah, so we got some cool things to talk about. I think it's a nice variety. It's not just like updates. It's like random things. Yeah. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about starting off nice and simple. Let's talk about some of the quests. It was kind of a big year for quests, but again, maybe not in terms of the actual content of that comes with the quest, but more so maybe the philosophy. Because we did get a huge quest drop on us called While Gothic Sleeps, but we also got all these like smaller quests, and a lot of them we didn't even expect to come in. Like when they released Varlamore, it came with all of these new quests and all that. So yeah, Trail, I guess I'll throw it back to you. Like, I feel like the philosophy for questing has almost changed. How do you feel it's changed?
Yeah, no, I think like there really is this overarching view, and I think somewhere along the line they either through with the community as far as polling or with the higher ups, they definitely got the green light to release more stuff. And I think with quests for years, it's been like only Grandmaster quests because it was so hard to get them out for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And yeah, with whatever this new philosophy changes, I think they, now that they have the green light, it was like, oh, we can just make a meaningless quest that, doesn't really give any rewards, that is just kind of for fun or just to fill in the lore, fill in the world. And we got a lot of those with Varlamore this year. And for someone who doesn't, kind of sees quests as checking a box off, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it is cool to see like, we're not just getting Grandmaster quests. And, we did get one Grandmaster quest this year, and we got, I think, 2, maybe 3 master level quests. I mean, we got quests at every level this year, which is cool. We haven't had that for a while.
Yeah, and then just tying this into, I already mentioned it, and the API plugin, like the devs are having these like active discussions with the community, because I saw them talking about, okay, if we were to build the quest helper from RuneLite, if we were to build that into the actual RuneScape game, by default, what level of quest helper should be turned on? Because like you can have, let me pull it up right here, because they have these different ways of these different settings. So they have full assistance, which is probably what most of us have, where every single thing you need to click will be highlighted blue. You can just turn your brain off. You can click through it. Makes the quest kind of boring, but you can get it done really fast. You don't even have to think. So perfect for some of us who just want to blast through it, maybe watching a video on the side. We don't want to think about what we're actually doing. Maybe we've done the quest before. But there are some people who maybe don't want, like when you have it so hands off like that, it's not fun. It's kind of boring. It can be pretty boring, and it can feel kind of hard. Like you're not motivated to do it. But then they have the medium assistance, which is, it has most of the things you're going to be clicking on, but it keeps like the puzzle solvers turned off. So you still need to do some thinking and be paying attention about when it comes to solving these puzzles. But maybe it's going to tell you what chat options to pick, or maybe it's going to highlight the NPC that you need to talk to. And then they have minimum assistance, which is going to disable most of the overlay help. It's going to hide your puzzle solutions, but it's going to track what items you need, and it's going to track where you are in the quest. So it kind of just like helps you not forget what you're doing. And it takes away some of the more tedious parts of doing the quest all on your own. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is like they're looking at ways to improve questing because the people who hate questing, they want to make it so that you don't hate doing it. You'll actually, I don't know, just connecting the two, I guess. We did get a lot of quests. So let's see. We got Defender of Varrock, which is like, I don't know, zombie axe. Any thoughts that stand out for you about that quest?
It's the Zombie Axe quest. The only other thing that was notable from it was I believe it's the first quest that you have an NPC follow you and the NPC would run if you ran. So that was
cool. Yeah.
That was a huge QOL. You're not having to just walk everywhere.
Yeah, that's neat. My criticism, I guess, is like Zombie Axe is a really stupid name for the weapon. I think it's so dumb. That's like if I was playing like, it just sounds like something you would find in like a children's Minecraft RPG server or something where it's like Zombie Axe. Like that's just, is it?
Ooh,
I don't understand. Is it
I think we can add an extra label to this year as the year of bad item names.
You think so, eh?
There was a lot. We had the chugging barrel, which was so bad they had to change it. And then the what was it? The firelight, and then they changed it to the ember light. They had a lot of item releases that they ended up changing the name on because people didn't like it.
Yeah, it's okay. So they need someone in the naming department. It seems like, yeah. And so and I think zombies are a pretty lame enemy. They're just boring. Like who the hell is? Anyways, whatever. So then we have Children of the Sun, which is one of the Varlamore quests, like the intro to Varlamore quest. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I do remember actually enjoying it.
Yeah, I did that one without a quest helper, and there was a classic. We go from someone following you to you're following somebody, and that's the only thing I remember from that quest. It's very short.
And then we had the Curse of Arav. I have no memory of this quest.
It's very recent. It's kind of the second part of Defender of Varrock where now you can get the zombie helmet, which I never got and I never really saw a need to get and kind of wasn't sure why any of that was in the game.
I think it's just like a crush helmet. I think maybe it replaces that dwarven helmet you can get. That gives you like a crush bonus. But again, zombie helmet. So are we going to get like a full gear of zombie? Is zombie gear now better than dragon gear? Because dragon's tier 60 and zombie gear is tier 65, which I think it is. That's such a dumb, I don't know. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, they could have at least, if they're going to make it zombie gear, they could have at least, in addition to the crush, added maybe some undead bonus, and that would maybe make it a little more situationally useful.
Yeah, but maybe zombies, because the zombie has the axe, so maybe...
Yeah, you don't want a zombie wielding a weapon that is good against itself. That would be kind of weird.
Yeah, that'd be too easy. Well, anyways, we'll rally about that one later. And then you put a note here called Frog Quest Best Quest. I haven't done this quest, so tell me about it.
You haven't? Oh, a riveting tale of a labor dispute. So yeah, with Varlamore and so Varlamore, each part of Varlamore, they released quests like we're talking about, these like meaningless quests. Well, they had one of each tier. So Varlamore Part 1, they had the riveting tale of a labor dispute, which is a really silly quest about this farmer who's arguing with these frogs about the pond that he lives next to. And you start talking to the frogs and you find out that they have this whole political battle going on that you're like caught in the middle of. And it's so dumb and so funny. It's for me, it evoked One Small Favor as far as like, it's such a dumb idea for a quest. And then that's why it's so awesome and like charming. Except this one only takes like 5 minutes. So that makes it better than One Small Favor. But yeah, it became tied for my favorite quest with One Small Favor because I just love how dumb it is. And that was a sentiment I think shared by the community. So many people say Frog Quest, best quest. And yeah, you don't even, I think the only reward you get from it is you get access to an extra hardwood patch for farming. But yeah, no, it's, I don't know. It's just one of those things that's like, I love that, like I was saying, you know, they got so focused on only Grandmaster quests, only raids and that kind of stuff. And just love taking RuneScape back to its roots of just stupid, janky, charming stuff like that.
They're nice. I love when they're contained in these little villages. Like you're helping some random farmer and maybe some region of Varlamore. And then it's just contained within. It's not like, you know, you're not like, it's not leading into anything major. I remember Getting Ahead, I think it's called, a quest. I think it's near the Farming Guild, but I remember really enjoying that quest. I thought it was just really fun.
Yep.
So yeah, those quests are great. And then we have a bunch of other Varlamore quests. I don't know. We could probably skip over them, but they exist.
Yeah, I powered through them to get my quest cape back.
Yeah, and they're like, there's like the Hunting Guild, and there's the Moons of Peril quest, and
yeah, exactly. They all unlock stuff that we're just going to talk about later anyway. So
yeah, they're great. Very cool stuff. And then we have the big end that you teased, and I think I already mentioned it. While Gothic Sleeps came out as well. That's probably the big one. Okay, so the big is that. How do you think? What do you think of the biggest quest of the year?
Yeah, it's I mean, I've gotten spooned at Tormented Demons, so I have 3 synapses. I've been able to make all of the weapons from there, which we can talk about later. But yeah, I mean, for it. When it came out, I was like, why is this a Grandmaster quest? And then I did it, and it did. It felt like a Grandmaster quest, you know, in scale and all that kind of stuff. Maybe not in rewards. I don't know, but I've been doing a lot of Slayer, and I did not realize how much of your Slayer tasks are demons. So I have used my demon weapons a lot, and so maybe it is fitting of its place as Grandmaster quest. But you know, then also kind of the scale of the story. I mean, you're killing off main characters of the game. I didn't like how they did it. I think when it came out, when we recorded, I complained a lot about how unceremonious the killing of characters was. But you know, as far as the stakes and the scale of it, that, you know, added on to that. And so yeah, overall, I think it's a great quest.
Yeah, it's like they were doing, you know, Game of the Thrones season 1 killing off of characters, where you're like, whoa, this is tragic and this is crazy. Didn't expect this to coming, and I love this whatever. And then they're like, well, we want to keep doing this. So how can we keep killing off characters? And then it feels like a Game of Thrones season 5, where you're like, okay, well, okay. So
they're doing it just to do it.
And I'm not even sure how accurate that is because I can't remember what season 5 is. But yeah, it's I agree with you there. It feels a little bit like they were just trying to maybe be edgy, or they're trying to be like, let's make this. This is an epic quest. The only way to make it epic is if some people get killed off. But I guess it's different when they get killed off and then just replaced. You know, we see that with previous quests. It's like literally dragons. Okay, this is like spoilers for Dragon Slayer 2. Skip ahead 30 seconds, but when that character dies, when the character dies, we all know that's like a really sad moment, but like there's no one replacing that character. That character used to wander around the world. You'd bump into them, and now they're gone. They're reduced to like a friggin' mound of dirt in the ground. Yeah. Near Taverley. Whereas like Neve or Duradel, like those people, they just like new person, just replace them. You're like, oh, okay, like, you know, business as usual.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a design flaw because they're killing off people that you need in the game because of the services they offer you. So yeah, it would have made more sense to kill off, you know, just NPCs that you only ever talk to. Which, I mean, I feel like there are plenty of those. Like they could have summoned like,
what do you think would be the most tragic yet unimpactful death? Like it's tragic, but it's not like you're losing Duradel and boom, now you've just lost a, you know, Slayer Master. That's going to affect your gameplay.
Well, as far and also fitting inside the context of that quest where they're like trying to summon the biggest badasses from around the realm. They could have killed off like Trailborn, you know, as like
who's that?
He's in the wizard's tower, just like NPC.
Oh, no one's gonna
really early on.
No,
yeah,
know who
nobody's
that
gonna-
was. No one's gonna care about that dude.
Okay, all right. You know what? Then let me hit you with the big one then.
Okay, let's go.
While Gothic sleeps would be cemented in everybody's memory, and this is an NPC that would not affect the game at all. You kill off the wise old man.
Ooh, that is a good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Honestly, it'd have to be a
because
better
all he
quest
really-
to justify that.
And all he really does is take away your quest, but like you don't need that. I think isn't there a chest that you actually use instead, or do you talk to the wise?
Oh, for the quest item, yeah, that is the most useless function.
It's not even up to date. It's like
Yeah, and it's like then you don't have the need to replace him with the wise young man or something. But honestly, I say that, but if they were going to do that, I think While Gothic Sleeps would have to be like a, I don't know, ultra grandmaster quest or like the biggest. Like if they had done that for Desert Treasure 2, that would have felt like appropriate because that is like the biggest quest in the game. But
that would be the Horus Heresy. Like, this is 40 Warhammer. I'm going to tie Warhammer into this. This would be the Horus Heresy of old school RuneScape. There'd be a before and after. It would be the final shape, Destiny 2, the final shape of old school RuneScape. There'd be a before and after.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
But there are options of people who aren't like shop owners or Slayer masters or have a lot of function. Here you go. Here's one.
Hans would be a good one, I think.
What about Oziak from the first Dragon Slayer? Because all he does post quest is like sells you a rune plate body, but that's like an iconic character that would not be missed, but would be sad to see go.
What do you think they could do to make like his house as sad as possible every time you saw it? Like maybe hanging the room plate as like hanging from the wall.
I mean, if you really want to make it sad, just have a pet that's currently always circling its food bowl, like waiting for its master to come home.
And maybe his name was RNG, and you could pet him for pet RNG, because people would say talk to Oziak increases your RNG.
Oh yeah.
That's good. I think you could kill off most of the random event quests, random event people, and I think there's only a few that people would be sad, and there's some you need to keep because of the freaking collection log. But that could be a fun one where maybe like the drunken dwarf, like
I'd love to see him die.
Yeah,
so
like
annoying.
maybe. Yeah, like maybe he gets into a drunken squabble and like. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe I don't know, whatever. I was trying to think, how can we make that as dark as possible? But it's supposed to be a happy episode, supposed to be a fun episode.
I would love to see the drunken dwarf die, and then like his last words, because he always talks about how you're his friend, and then it's like the Thanos meme where you're like, I don't even know who you are. And then Captain Arav, where he's like, parley with me, my old fruit, and you're like, go away. Okay, yeah, this has gone to a completely different quest now, but a quest where you can choose which random event characters die off so that you never have them come to you again would be a welcome change.
I do think that we need more, like, how come we haven't got any updates to random events? They're so cool. Like, we've gotten the count check, and I think that's it. It would be pretty cool to get something, I don't know, like, maybe there's like, I don't know, like, random events. Like, I love random encounters in games. Like, when I'm playing Skyrim and I get approached by, like, someone who's like, I need help. Oh, I'm carrying this friggin' stolen battle axe. Need you to hold it. Like, I love stuff like that. What else could you do? You could do something with the fairies, maybe.
Well, the second you say that, though, the problem is that, so when Count Check was released, somebody did the math, and it was like an extra 200 hours was added on to the hypothetical grind for the Stale Baguette, because it's like he is getting rolled instead of the Sandwich Lady or the Quizmaster. So maybe just reworking the ones we have would be a welcome change. I mean, if you looked forward to random events in the sense that, well, it's RuneScape, so if they gave you some kind of good benefit, that it was actually worth taking the time to do, it'd be really cool.
I feel like this segment turned into like speculating a little bit about what they should do, but
We got really off track.
It was a perfect idea.
Okay.
Jags, if you're listening, they are usually in need of ideas, people. So we can do that for them.
Mhm.
Okay, so you have recipe for disaster, but what if you had like the recipe for chance? No, we'll think of that name. I'll talk to ChatGPT later. We'll come up with something. But there's a new quest line where it's broken up to a bunch of sub quests so that it's helping each of the random event people. So maybe it's the mysterious old man. Maybe it's the mysterious old man again, 'cause he does 2 different ones. Maybe it's like the sandwich lady, but you beat each of those subquests and it upgrades them. So then the when you get them, they have like better loot, because a lot of the times it kind of sucks, but you can get maybe the wise old man, not the wise old man, mysterious old man gives you like stuff that you're like, oh, this is, instead of 1 sapphire, here's 15 or something like that after you do these quests. And then you can maybe kill one off. And look, I just got the Quizmaster. Like the Quizmaster is a cool one. I like that guy. Only because the mysterious box is fun and there's only 1 item that you care about getting from it. So
yeah, when you kept like, we were like, we're getting distracted and you started talking about that, it's like, all right, come on, let's get back on track. But what you just said sounds awesome and I love it. Recipe for disaster part 2. Recipe for randomness, maybe?
Oh, that's good. That's good. Random. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be cool. Maybe I'll try to get a job as an intern at Jagex and then I can like work on it and then I got nothing from that mystery box.
But then they'll make you sign something that you can only contribute to their official podcast and you can't do your own podcast anymore.
Brutal. Yeah. Yeah. Bastards. Okay, so anyways, year for quests. It was great. Love to see the smaller quests that really don't have as big of an impact. I love the idea of getting, a content and then boom, you get a bunch of quests that you didn't even realize were coming with it. And I think like I always feels a little bit weird when this content that's just like unlocked, like Temperos, like something like that, where you can just take a boat at any point. I like the idea when there's a quest you need to do to unlock it. It kind of makes it feel like, I don't know. I just kind of, it feels more organic. I'm not even sure. But yeah. Any final thoughts on questing before we move on to the next category?
No, let's do it.
Okay, and that's right. We broke these up into different categories. Next, we have skilling. Let's talk about some of the skilling updates we've gotten, because it's been a big year for skilling in a real big bad way. We got a lot of Varlamore stuff. So we got the Hunters Guild. We got Mixology, Colossal Worm Agility. We got a bunch of like rebalance and all these changes. We got the Wilderness Agility course. Got some updating. There was a skilling rebalance. The Mage Training Arena got some changes. Wintertide got reworked a little bit. And then we got Temperos, Guardians of the Rift, and Mahogany Homes also got a rework. So one of the biggest ones is, for me, it's definitely the Hunters Guild, because the hunting rumors activity that came with the guild, I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. I think it's great. It's kind of like Slayer, but specifically for hunting.
Yeah, the Hunters Guild was really, really interesting update. I think I was a little I was worried for sure when it first came out. Because, well, it's interesting. I don't know. Like I'm of 2 minds of it, because I am a big supporter of the artisan skill, which is basically Slayer for all skilling. And there's good reasons why people have problems with that. But I think that the hunter rumors, it is exactly what people were worried about with artisan, where it is the only way you should be training hunter for a lot of different reasons. But that grind, like that play loop, is really cool because it brought life to every single type of hunter, which was so problematic before, where like there was everything that was interesting about hunter came at level like 80 plus, and the path to get there was so miserable and nothing interesting came out of it. And they breathed so much life into the hunter skill with the hunter rumors, that it made it, I mean, it shot it up as one of the better skills. I mean, it moved up so much higher in the rankings of hunter stuff, or of skilling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's got a cool pet with it. The hunting guild itself looks really cool. And I think it was so weird because hunting before this was like it had like the most things you could do in a skill, but it also like most of it was useless. They had like there's no purpose to, most of them, but we got a bunch of stuff with it, including like a new piece of gear called Mixed Hide, which is like this range. It's like a hybrid piece of gear that's like kind of cheap, but also kind of good. And I don't know, they nerfed Black Dragon Hide and then they brought this stuff out, which is kind of confusing to me, but like, whatever. Yeah. Cool. We also got Mixology, which is like, I don't know, it's a mini game for Herblore. You're making these different potions. I've heard people say it's what Giant's Foundry should have been. I haven't done it yet myself, but I'm kind of excited because I've heard nothing but great things about it. Have you done it?
Yeah, I actually, our last episode with MIDI, I complained a lot about mixology. But no, it's interesting. And I will say mixology is interesting because it's, I've only ever done it on my Iron Man, which is something I don't usually say, but that does, I'll fully admit it affects my opinion of it because I'm caught in this kind of loop right now because I'm doing so much Slayer that the goading potions that you get from mixology are so good for Slayer. They're so useful, and I just burn through them. And so what I'm finding myself doing is I'm doing mixology just for the goading potions, and then I'm never able to make any progress towards the actual gear unlocks. And so obviously if I was on a main, I would buy my goading potions and I would work my way towards the untradeable things. And that would help a lot. But I will say from a more objective standpoint, I think it's a really cool idea that you're mixing these potions. And I do think the gameplay loop is pretty good. It's very like attentive. It's the kind of thing like, it's the kind of category of content in the game where you do not, the XP comes as fast as you get it. And there's no downtime, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like you can really sweat and, get a lot of gains from it, or you can kind of chill back and get a lot fewer gains. So, which I guess I would say is probably the sign of a good update. I think my problems come from it's very attentive, but not super interesting after you've done it long enough that kind of the newness wears off and you kind of get into the grind of it. And I don't know, I guess the XP rates and the way that the herbs that you use for it were a little different than I had anticipated. I think I had expected a little more in the way of like maybe higher XP rates for lower level herbs, and maybe I'm just being selfish. But yeah, I love the rewards, and it's really sad that I have to spend all of my points on goading potions because they're so good. I haven't even done the prayer rejuvenation potions, which are also super good. Because I've been spending everything on goading potions. But yeah, that's my my thoughts on mixology, I guess.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at the price of the goading potion too, and it's $66K. So 16K a sip, it looks like. Interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay, maybe I wouldn't
go.
buy them then, because that like one Slayer task will use 2 to 3 of those. So maybe I don't know.
That's only like 100, 200K. So if you're like deep in the end game, like that might be worth it if you're just trying to bang out the task as fast as possible. Anyways, yeah, it seems pretty cool. And it comes with a lot of cool uniques with it as well. They have like the mixing goggles or the alchemist goggles or something. And they have like the secondary sack and the prayer, all these different things. So a lot of cool rewards. It looks interesting, but I haven't yet done it myself. Looking forward to that. Then we got the Colossal Worm agility. I don't know, not much to be said here. It's just your agility course and another way to grind out some graceful or the stamina potion crystals, amethyst crystals. It's another way of doing it, but not super interesting. The course is like kind of more stretched out. So if you want to be like, how do I AFK agility? I guess you could maybe look at this one a little bit, but it's whatever. And then we got a few random, I guess, updatings. The Wilderness Agility course. I've been a huge fan of this. They added this like ticket system, which allows you to get a bunch of blighted supplies as you make the loops, and you get a bunch of alkables, and you also get like a lot of agility experience. I love this update. It like encourages you to stay, which means PKers are gonna want to like show up to kill you, but like it's caused this like really cool community driven event where you just mass these agility worlds where you get like 100 people running the course and PKers show up, but then you have people defending the skillers, and the skillers are even fighting back. I think it's just a great system to get me to train agility, and I've trained like all of my agility through this, which means I don't even have my freaking graceful yet, because you can't get your graceful here. But I think it's great. I think it's pretty cool. Anything you want to say about those last two agility updates?
So I'll say this. I hate the Colossal Worm Agility course. But I'll save my thoughts on that for now. We have in the works is a episode on AFK skilling for an all about episode, and I will save my thoughts for that, because I would love to rant about why I hate that the so-called AFK agility course. I've been very frustrated by that one. As far as the wilderness, it's all good things. I will say that I have no interest in the wilderness agility course, apart from those clan masses we do, which is so much fun. And going back to what I said early on in the podcast about resources on an Ironman, that was a big one. Like, how am I going to get blighted potions? Like, you do get a bunch of drops, but you need to have them to get the drops. And then just doing like a couple sessions of that with our clan, get so many. Like, I have a lifetime supply of every blighted resource I need.
Same. Many.
It's such a fun idea of like the risk versus reward, like adding that to the wilderness. I think that's the best way they could have handled a wilderness agility course. That's really fun. And I've loved that community aspect of, that wasn't we didn't come up with that idea of like a clan mass, basically like they can't get us all at once kind of a thing. But we joined in with another clan doing it, and then we started running it on our clan started running it on our own, and such a fun time.
Oh, it's great. And it's like such good experience. And you get supplies for days. And if you're a low level iron that like, maybe you just like, I had a hard time getting prayer potions and like all this sort of stuff when I was a lower level. I didn't want to use the ones that I had. So like, but I had a ton of blighted supplies from the agility. So like, and I didn't realize you can go to PvP worlds and use blighted supplies in PVMing. And you can do that for so many different like PVMing activities. Like if you need to, when I was killing Jad, getting my fire cape, all blighted supplies. I did it in a PvP world, all blighted supplies, and no one can kill you until you're like in there's that one gap between the bank and where the fight cave starts. But once you're in the fight caves, like nobody can get you. It seems insane that I can use blighted supplies there. Same with Defenders of Varrock when I wanted my zombie axe. It's an instant once you go down into the tunnels where the zombies are. And I just ice barraged them because I had a ton of the blighted ice sacks and tons of super restores. It's just, anyways, it's crazy to me that you can do this. And I've done a bunch of PVMing and I get killed sometimes. But like, if I need a burst, I go to the catacombs on a PvP world with some blighted supplies. It's awesome. It's great.
The Wilderness Podcast does not hold any responsibility for anybody who loses all of their items doing PVM on a PvP world for legal reasons.
Yeah, this is
I did the same thing. I hit the point, like you're saying, where I was out of prayer potions early on in my Ironman. It was when I was doing Desert Treasure 2. And I was like, well, if I log on to the square right before the instance, and I'll even bring my main to scout for me. Mm-hmm. And I did that for Vorkath too, some early Vorkath kills to get my assembler. But yeah, it's like, it's all fun and games until you mess up. And then it's... I mean, but yeah, it's the same as if you treat the wilderness, where you prepare for whatever items you're going to lose or anything like that. It can be a kind of niche, super powerful strategy. But once again, I will not hold any responsibility if somebody loses their entire bank doing that.
Yeah, and you will find PKers in the weirdest of places. If you even this times I'm doing Slayer in like some weird corner on a PvP world, thinking who's going to be here, and then someone pops up, and you're like, "What? That? Do you have anything better to do?" Yeah. We got some other things. The Mage Training Arena changes. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what these are.
I just did my Lumbridge, and I just got my Bones to Peaches last week, actually.
And how was it?
It was good. I did my on my main so long ago that I don't actually remember what it was, but I was doing it in voice chat on Discord with like while I was streaming it, and the person who it was Winter Split, from previous episode, and he was just like, oh, that's different. Oh, that's different. He's like, that's so much better. The biggest one I know that was different is actually it was kind of affected by a change that wasn't directly from Mage Training Arena, which is the telekinesis room, because telekinetic grab is now like no delay. So that was actually a kind of a fun room. Instead of being super tedious, it was like, you're trying to like one tick, send your telekinetic grab and then run around. I legitimately got my Bones to Peaches saying like, I might actually come back here, which is not what I said on my main.
Yeah, I did it. So maybe I did do the changes because I can't remember how I did it on my main either. But I went and unlocked the boots, and I got the Bones to Peaches right away as well. And it wasn't the most fun, but I remember thinking like, wow, I don't hate this nearly as much as I thought I was going to. So yeah, those changes were they made it more tolerable for sure. And then we have Temperos, Guardians of the Rift, and Mahogany Homes rework. Again, a little out of the loop on this one. Are you in the loop?
Yes. Oh man, so
Okay,
many. Okay, so yeah, they did this mini game rework, and all of the changes are great. So Mahogany Homes, they made it so they basically removed all of the unnecessary interfaces. So like if you take a tier 3 contract, so you're doing like teak. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 3 is teak. So you're doing teak furniture. That's what you've already like committed to do. There's no reason when you click to make something that it should give you the option to do the other ones. So now if you click on like repair furniture, it'll just automatically repair the furniture. It's such a obvious but great. Useful. Oh man, it makes and especially not even to mention how much better and like doable it makes it on mobile.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so I have about 20,000 mahogany planks that I've been able to make. So I'm looking forward to really going hard on that on my iron, but those changes are incredible. Guardians of the Rift, same story. I've been doing some of that recently. Like it's basically one change, but it's the change that Guardians of the Rift needed, which is you can now enter the game at any point.
That's great. You don't need to wait 20 minutes.
You don't have to wait. You don't have to fight off the other people who are trying to get in, and then double click and get taken out of it.
Oh, brutal.
And you'd also, another part of it that's huge is you don't feel trapped in there once you do finally get in because of how hard it is to get in.
True.
So that was such a huge change. And I got to kind of experience that recently as I was getting some rune crafting levels for diaries. And they made it so the colossal pouch is scalable. So if you get it at a lower level, you can still make a colossal pouch, and it will. So like if you only have the first 3 pouches unlocked, it'll hold, and the colossal pouch will just hold whatever those 3 added up is, plus a little bit on top, I think. And then once you unlock the next tier of pouch, your colossal pouch now will hold that many more runes, which is cool. Makes it feels a lot better if you get spooned the abyssal needle at like 60 rune crafting.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah. And then there was a few other changes related to basically making it harder to wipe, which was always frustrating, especially from someone who did all of my Guardians of the Rift on Mass Worlds. You just have those times where nobody's really contributing and you wipe. So they kind of removed a lot of that, which is great. But yeah, so that's the Guardians of the Rift one. Temperos was much more minor. They made basically you could instance for a solo, so you didn't have people crashing you. And then in all of these reworks, they made it so the reward pool you could do like a mass grab. You could do like 5 at a time or 10 at a time or something. I never saw the appeal of that because I'm so like dopamine starved that I usually end up like getting my rewards after like every match because I'm like, come on, I need it.
Yeah, you need that fix.
Give me something. Yep.
Yeah, I feel you.
And then the Wintertodt rework is the only one I haven't gone back to, but everybody has said it's 100 times better. You have a warmth meter instead of health, so you're not just taking damage, and the potions make it so you can stay in there. Oh, you have done it. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a little bit more AFK, not as much as I thought it was going to be, but like, it's. Oh, I forget what the difference. Oh yeah, there's no delay. Oh yeah, if you get interrupted while fletching, it doesn't like cut you if you're mid action. You can finish the action, then it stops. But yeah, it's great because you don't have to go in with food anymore. You make the potions in there. If you're good enough, you never need to make potions, or you never need to make bring food. The only thing that like I'm not super into is that like you have, instead of a health bar, you have like a cold bar now, and once you get fully frozen, you just die. You hit one hit. So sometimes you're like, you don't even realize how close to death you are until you're dead. But yeah, overall, it's great. I love it. And yeah, then there's the big skilling rebalance, which I think was a bunch of little things, balancing out agility, and I think mining got some love and a bunch of other things. Anything you want to mention? I don't know. I have the dev blog pulled up in front of me. I don't feel like getting it.
No. Yeah. Last week, or no, it was like 2 nights ago. I was wanting to. I've been trying to do some agility, and I threw it out in clan chat because I have 78 agility. I'm 79 now, but I have 78 agility, and I was like, I know, like in the past, I would go to Sears if I want some, AFK, some rooftops, and I was like, wait a minute, they changed that, so now. Like I have the level for Polnivniche, and I almost have the level for Relica, because it used to just be Sears and then Artie. I was like, oh yeah, and I looked on the wiki to double check it, and it's like, yeah, it is a smooth progression of rooftops now, to where when you hit the level for that next level of rooftops, you want to go there because you are getting more XP and more marks of grace per hour, as opposed to skipping them because Sears is faster. So yeah, it's just little small things that add up over time. And yeah, the mining things, they were the changes to Motherlode Mine, which was very welcome, very good. But yeah, kind of just a bunch of little small things that as a whole add up to some really great changes that just, tweak the game a little bit and make progression smooth. Pretty much all wins from me.
Very cool stuff. So yeah, a lot of, fairly decent amount of stuff coming to skilling this year. I love to see it. I think things get a little bit, I don't know, I'm not super into it. Like skilling has its place, of course. People always like lean into PVMing, but like I've been like casually playing before bed, and it's been all skilling, and I love it because I don't have to worry about like, getting sleepy and then turning my phone off and then turning back on and I'm dead in the morning, which is annoying. But speaking of, let's talk about the PVM updates that we've gotten. First off, we got Scurious, this new like mid-level boss. It's meant to like teach noobs the ropes to bossing. I think it's a pretty cool boss. I think it's great. It's nothing. It's great. It was a good addition. I think it has its place. I don't know. Do you have any strong feelings about the old Scurious, the Rat King?
Oh yeah, I think it was a great update. I didn't know when Scurious came out that 2024 was going to be the year of these type of updates. So I was like super excited that we finally had one like mechanically interesting mid-level boss, and then we got like 5 more of them throughout the year. But yeah, no, I mean, Scurious was the first in a kind of run that we're about to talk about of these, kind of tutorial bosses of teaching these late game mechanics. And I think because Scurious was so successful, it allowed for those other ones. Yeah. So it was I think, yeah, very pleased with that update.
It's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad they really leaned into it because we got something called like the Perilous Moons, not quest, sorry. The Moons of Peril, the Perilous Moons, whatever you want to call it. But the new barrows, basically, where you get the Blood Moon, the Eclipse Moon, and the blue one. What's it? Frost Moon? I don't even know.
It's called the Blue Moon.
Oh,
for
the Blue
some
Moon.
reason.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we got those as well. And they kind of follow a similar suit where it's like, it really feels like they're teaching you certain skills that you're going to need to use in other PVM later on. So I think Moons is great. Actually, you know what? How do I say this? I think it's awesome. It looks cool. Everything looks great. The gear looks cool. Everything that sounds great. The first time you run it, you're like, this is awesome. But then I don't know if it's fun. I think for me, it falls into one of those categories where I'm like, I've done like 35 KC and I'm either burnt because I haven't got any drops yet, or it's not really that much fun because I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. I'm sitting there the other night. I've been grinding it and I do like 1 or 2 runs and I'm like, okay, I think I've had enough. But it looks cool. I just trying to figure out if I actually enjoy it.
I know you've been kind of taking a step back from things. Have you been following my dry streak at Moons?
Someone mentioned it the other day. Tell me about it.
So I hit. So it's supposed to be 1 in 19 for a drop. Any drop, I believe it's 1 in 52 if for a specific kind of that kind of a Barrows kind of logic. So I got to 190. So 10 times rate with 1 item.
Wow.
And for people who've been hearing me complain about it, I can say 195. I did break the dry streak. I got my dual mocks, but
nice.
Still though, 195. So over 10 times rate. And I still only have 2 items there. So Moons has been for the first time ever, I posted on Reddit about how dry I was. That was.
Oh.
So I think I could say that's potentially the driest I've ever gone on RuneScape for something.
How'd that Reddit post go?
Well, everybody thought I was, Reddit. So people assumed they knew me better than I know me. So they all told me, well, your KC's inflated because you're only killing one of the bosses. So it's not actually 1 in 19. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, well, actually I am killing all 3 of the bosses. I do know how to play the game, but,
are you sure though?
Yeah.
Then we gotta side with Reddit on this one. That's brutal. See, I think, oh gosh, do you find Moons fun?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's so hard. Everything we're talking about with Scurrious, Perilous Moons, we're going to talk about it with some of the other bosses. This new mid-tier boss, it's just, there's something about it where it's like, it's so fun when you first start, but like it's once you get over the learning curve and you realize it's going to be the exact same fight every time forever, it just loses any appeal. And it's, kind of that, going back to me and Winter's episode on TOA, it's just that difference between TOA and TOB, where one is just these defined mechanics that you have to follow, and one is just this like wild west of like trying to find your own mechanics kind of a thing. And these mid-level bosses, the first instance of it, and the thing that still drives me crazy to this day is the Calvarion/Vedion fight, where when he summons the Hellhounds, he becomes invincible. And then once you kill the Hellhounds, there's like a delay until what would have been his next attack before you can attack him again. So you just feel like you're on this railroad of like, okay, I check off this box, I kill the Hellhounds, I wait till he's ready. And they remove any optimization because they know that if they don't do that, then higher level players will come into this mid-level content and just be getting, 10 times faster rates than they had anticipated for the content. So I understand why they do it. And I do have love for the intention behind it. And I think for a lot of people, these bosses are super fun. But yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, going 10 times the rate, there's no dopamine to kind of sustain me through that. So I have a more negative view of it regardless.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Anyways, it's there. It is pretty cool. I know what you mean. There's it is a great tool for learning, and I just feel like I don't want to learn when I'm killing it. Yeah. But then again, I'm starting to have this like realization that maybe RuneScape isn't meant these like high endurance grinds where you're like just sit out and do 100 kills in a row. I think like Moons for me might be a pop on, do 1 or 2 a day, and then go do something else. Could be. So what else do we get? Yeah, for sure. Oh my God, my ear just fully clogged up on where my ear infection is. Oh, that's so weird. It was like, I guess I don't like that. It's like fully clogged. Okay. Feels like there's water in it. Okay. Let's look at, let's just go down the list. Fortis Coliseum is another big one. That one's like a new, I was gonna say like a benchmark for PvMing, but it's kind of supposed to sit on par with the Inferno, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it's pretty cool overall. I think I mentioned when it came out that I was a little disappointed that it wasn't more badass for how cool it's supposed to be. Like they aesthetically, I think they could have done maybe a little bit more to highlight how cool this thing is, but I get why they didn't want to do it since it's going to be only a certain fraction of players are going to be doing this type of content. But yeah, you got any strong feelings toward the Fortis Coliseum, the Inferno 2.0, or maybe Inferno B?
I think that same as you, am going to just base my feelings off of what I've heard from other people. And the people who I have talked to about it love it. So I'm going to piggyback off their opinions and say that it is a faster paced, more easy to approach version of the Inferno. And it seems like that was their design intention, and it seems like that's what they delivered on. So it seems like a success from every angle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. They also added Undead Pirates, which was this like new low level. Like, you know what? That was a whole mess. They added the Undead Pirates and it like brought in a bunch of easy GP for people. Then they made some changes to it to combat the bots. And then anyways, it's in this weird place right now where it's like a very easy moneymaker if you're a lower level. I have definitely taken advantage of it. And I am whatever about it. It is what it is. But some people don't like it a lot. So
I'm also very whatever on it.
It's there, and then you know what? I need. It was there when I needed it.
Yep.
And I don't need it anymore. What else we got? We got a big rebalance for combat, which I thought was pretty cool. They changed ranged, and then they added a few more like weapon categories or damage categories for ranged, and then they added like the elemental weaknesses for magic, which I thought was it was a huge update for me because beforehand it was always the fire spells that were so good, but they actually made it so that every spell was good against certain monsters. Like if I'm killing demons, I think it's like water or earth spell. I don't remember which ones are weak, but I've definitely had to bust out the elemental spells for certain Slayer tasks, and I was glad that they were there for me. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool change. It's really pushed my the limits of my game knowledge, because there's been before I had a charged staff, the elemental changes are, it's so cool to, once again, the thematic side of it, like, oh, I'm shooting this fire creature with water and it's hitting it harder. It makes a lot of sense. And it was huge at early game Barrows. I just had an air staff and blood runes, and that was all I needed to be casting super high level spells that hit super hard. And yeah, I've that is like a mid game solution and somewhat applicable late game, but not as much because, I've gotten my trident now. I've got my toxic trident now, and I've kind of abandoned, I stopped using fire spells at Zulrah. I'm using my trident. I stopped using air spells at Barrows. I'm using my trident. But for that phase of the game before you get, and you can just take your warp scepter and throw it in the trash. The warp scepter's useless, because they released it right around the same time as these elemental spells, and they're so useful. And I like it because it was, people were so worried that it was going to be this whole like ruining the game, changing every meta, that kind of a thing. But it's kind of true that before you get a trident, elemental spells are so useful where they're applicable. And then once you get a trident, you kind of don't use them anymore. And I feel like that actually works in the sense of not upsetting the meta too much, but making the early game much smoother and more fun.
And it brings room for like, you know, if they do want to bring in like, you know, the nightmare staffs, how one of them is geared for using regular spells. Like I could definitely see there being like a reason to use your wrath spells. What are they called? Surge spells. Yeah, they might actually have a purpose if you have something that's like super vulnerable. You know, you might maybe have a boss. You can just, if you really want them to use air spells, you tune up like their what do you call it? Weakness.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that with like max mage, it actually be really interesting. I'd have to, you have to run it through a calculator, but I'm pretty sure that max mage with fire surge and nightmare staff is probably better at Zulrah than like max mage with a trident. But I couldn't say that for sure. But it's interesting that you even like that's even a possibility. Like elemental spells have always just been kind of a joke once you get to the point where you don't need them anymore. And I love seeing that, and I also just love any reason that I can be on the standard spell book with all of my teleports. So that's nice too.
Totally. Okay, let's going down this is our own list of notes that we made. We have Araxor is next for the PVM updates, which came with it some, a new amulet, a new weapon, some boots. It seems like people seem to really like this boss. I'll be honest, I haven't even killed it yet because I've been on this Iron Man journey. You know what I was talking about earlier? There's like digital stuttering. I feel like there's been a lot of this year that I just stopped really looking into detail about a lot of these like updates and bosses. And maybe it's because I've been playing my Iron that I'm like, I'm not going to be doing this anytime soon, so I'm just going to keep on. Just going to ignore it for now. So yeah, I haven't even done a rack, so I don't know much about the weapons except for when I've been doing this wilderness agility stuff. You see a lot of anti-PvPers or people who are like protecting the runners. They have this new halberd that Araxor drops. But have you had a chance to kill it at all? Is your Slayer even high enough?
So we just did the all about Slayer because I've been grinding Slayer. I'm doing Slayer right now. I am 47% from 91 to 92. I am so close to Araxor and I am so excited. And Araxor came out after I abandoned my main and before I could do it on my Iron. So I also have not been able to kill Araxor. But, as with most stuff in this game, the fight itself is less interesting to talk about than the rewards from it. And I am super excited about the Nox Halberd. I've seen its potential at Tob, but essentially what it represents is a replacement for the Blade of Saldor. And what that means is I don't have to have in my head, if I ever get an enhanced seed that from CG, that I would ever have to stay for a second one, which is very good for my mental health. But
that's good.
Yeah. I'm super excited about the Nox Halberd. I'm excited that if I were to get the Araxite Fang, that I need to get back into my crafting grind to be able to make a torture. I'll be one of the new blood of RuneScape, where I never have a torture. I go straight from a Fury to the Rancor. But yeah, no, there's I'm getting so close to Araxor and I'm very excited to finally be able to do it. And obviously I could just pop on my main and do it, but I've kind of been saving it. I am a little worried because it's another Venom boss and I have, I'm probably going to have to do some janky Iron Man Venom stuff because I don't have the anti-Venom pluses yet. And
true,
it'll be a minute before I get I'm 85 Herblore right now, so I can make normal anti-Venoms, but I need a few more levels before I can make the pluses. But all that to say, yeah, Araxor has seemed to be very popular. People do seem to enjoy the fight. I've heard it's not as like for the people who don't like Hydra seem to like Araxor, which is good to hear because Hydra is probably the most mechanically intensive of the Slayer bosses, and to hear it's a little bit less than that, makes me feel like it's going to be a little chiller. But it sounds like it's kind of an interesting fight still.
Yeah, Yeah, very cool, very cool. And then we have the Tormented Demons, which come from the While Gothic Sleeps.
Yep.
And with it came some weapons. You got the Burning Claws, or I think they originally called them the Bone Claws, and then there's a bow, the Ember Light, and some staff. Again, haven't had a chance to deal with these, but you mentioned you were quite spooned at the demons, right?
Yeah, I had 3 tormented synapses before 200 KC.
I've heard the demons were a lot of fun. When they were released, people were bitching about the loot, but I think that's like kind of tradition when an update comes out. Like, you need to complain about something. There needs to be a top post on Reddit being upset about something about the or it's just a bad omen if it's ever all just positivity. So people are complaining about the loot when it first dropped.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but going way back to the beginning of their design philosophy, Jagex admitted, starting from Tormented Demons and all of their recent updates, they admitted that they've changed their philosophy to releasing content underwhelming rates, so that they can balance up, as opposed to releasing it completely broken and having to scale it back. They decided that it feels better to buff something than to nerf it. So that is going to be a theme going forward, I think.
Cool. Okay. Great. That's fine. That's great. Let's see. And then you got more you want to say?
Oh, I mean, as far as Tormented Demons go, I love them, but I hate them because they make me hate demonic gorillas even more, because they are just what demonic gorillas should have been. They're everything improved. I've said it probably 20 times on this podcast already, but yeah, they are so much better than demonic gorillas. And their drops are cool. There's some unique, kind of interesting concepts in there as far as them dropping like the special food and buffs and stuff. But that's pretty much all there is to say about them. But yeah, great update.
I feel like you can say that with a lot of things the past like few years. When something comes out, it's like, this is what so-and-so should have been. I think they're really, and I think maybe that goes back to what you're saying with like their design philosophy has changed a little bit. And they're really scrubbing out the parts of RuneScape that we don't like. And which is interesting, because in 2013, there was a lot to not like about this game. So
yep.
Everything was clunky, everything was messy and a pain, and then just tedious to do. And nobody wanted to change anything because tedium was part of the being skilled at this game. So it's good at walking some of that stuff back. Next, I think you had this note, Partner Slayer, which was something that's been dead for like years. It was like this thing where hey, you and your buddies can do Slayer together. Of course, people found out a way to make Slayer kind of broken by doing, Partner Slayer. So then they just removed it from the game. Then I guess they brought it back. What's going on with this Partner Slayer?
Spoiler alert, it's still dead. They brought it back. Everybody complained about it. They brought it back, and I mean, I can tell you personally speaking, the thing that killed it for me is it is only available for main accounts.
Okay.
So Ironman, and I get it, Ironman standalone, whatever. But yeah, the second I saw that, I was like, well, I'll never be doing that. And I think there was a few people I saw when the day it came out, they're like, hey, you want to try it out? And yep, I've never seen anybody use it. I don't think anybody cares about it. And it feels like it's like this, we see this a lot where there's this vocal group that's like, where is this in the game? And then it comes out, and then those people just, they just dissipate. They just disappear forever. And
yeah,
they go to complain about the next thing, I guess. So yeah, that was just a huge
longing
nothing
for like these social interactions in RuneScape, like almost like similar to what we would have had when we were kids playing this game. Because I spent a lot over the years of people saying, just do this to this social activity and it will be great and people will use it and it will be like whatever. But they make the changes and nobody continues to use it. And I guess like we're just all older these days, and our expectations for socializing and stuff and interacting with one another has changed. A lot of it's just done in clans and on voice chats and stuff and on Discord. And But I remember people were saying that about Castle Wars. Like they brought Castle Wars to free to play, and people are like, "This is going to be awesome!" Like it's in free to play. Free to play players are going to love to do Castle Wars, and guess nobody does Castle Wars in free to play because it turns out you just have to have a couple people in full rune at level 126, and it's not going to be fun for anyone else to fight them. So nobody does it. And then you look at like the games room. They're like, if you add the games room games to the Grand Exchange where everyone is, maybe people will start playing it. They made that change and nobody plays it. Like, I don't know. So I think maybe just people have a lot, like they love the idea of these like, of me and a friend doing Slayer together on an evening, but then you realize when you and your friend hop on that, like, one, you maybe only have an hour and a half together, and two, you're both already in the middle of a Slayer task. Nobody wants to cancel theirs. And
yeah, I have found so much more success in like the social aspect of this game where everybody's in Discord just chatting, or even like I was saying earlier, watching a movie or playing a board game, but like everybody's just kind of doing their own grinds unless it's raiding. But like for the most part, yeah, trying to link up on like even where it's like, let's do Guardians of the Rift together. And it's like, yeah, we're kind of both here, but that's about it. Like I'll pass you in the hallway kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the thing that really is the stranglehold for RuneScape specifically with social stuff is that because RuneScape is so easy to play multiple accounts on, they know that people can boost and boost and boost with that kind of stuff. So they're so limited in what they can do for group stuff that doesn't allow for this abuse from people with alts and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have so much more fun just doing my own thing, but hanging out with people on Discord or whatever. Because yeah, there's also a big problem in RuneScape of people get tunnel vision with their grinds, and they're just like, anybody want to raid? Like, no, I have to get this herblore level, and this is all I'm gonna do.
And like for me, like even for me, like I feel like I've been quite antisocial. I used to like. But it's because I've been playing on mobile, and I find I do this. Like I'm just laying in bed and I'm kind of tired, and I don't really feel like I'm not super talkative. So I'm laying in bed and I turn off all my chats, and you know what? I don't know why I'm bringing this. I don't think this has anything to do with what we're speaking about. But yeah. God, Trey, can you segue this one? Where are we going with this?
I have no idea where you were going with that. Yeah, you're right. So anyways, no.
We can talk about like let's just move on to the next list. It's the polysporin. Hopped up on this polysporin.
Flawless transition.
Yep. The next one is the Hui Quaddle. I forget how he said it. Huey Quaddle. Okay, the guy said it at the Winter Summit, how it's supposed to be said. He was like, Hui Quaddle. And he said it like that. And so now you know what? This isn't, we're going to get some feedback on that one, aren't we? Huey Quaddle, you know, the Huey. He's like this dragon thingy. It's like a dragon thing in Varlamore. It's like this new group boss that came out, and with it came this new Huey ranged armor. I forget what it's called, but it looks pretty dumb. You know what? A lot of the gear this year looks downright stupid. So
I'll agree with that.
Who's ever naming some of this gear and whoever's kind of designing the way it looks, like the range gear looks dumb. Oh my God, that prayer gear from Colosseum. That shit looks so stupid. Oh my, I see people wearing it and I keep thinking they're wearing that cosmetic moon sun face that you get from like somewhere in Taverley. I forget it's like the moon druid gear. Anyways, so yeah, you got this new group boss that you can do together. It's it is where you need to get some of this new seeds for herblore. Anyways, I think it's pretty fun. It's kind of cool. It has this new mechanic where, like, depending on what everyone in your group is praying, like your mage, range, or melee prayers, these totems start filling up with energy depending on what your prayer is. And if you can have your team evenly distribute their prayer, so you know you have these people doing range, these two people doing melee, these people doing mage, all the totems will fill up with power, and then when they're full, you get like a damage boost. I love that. That feels really cool to be hitting these big numbers when you're not supposed to be. I like that mechanic a lot, to be honest. But yeah, overall, it's like, I guess, more of a mid-game boss. I think it's neat. The range gear seems really brutal to grind out, and it looks dumb, but yeah, I think you can skip the Blessed Dehyde grind if you're not super into clues now.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't gone there on my iron because honestly, I don't feel the need to. The Dragon Hunter wand seems to only be useful for like metallic dragon slayer tasks, which I just skip anyways.
What about that Visage?
Well, I'll get it. I'll get it from KBD or something. I don't know.
Fair enough.
But or Vorkath, I guess, would probably be most likely once I go hard on Vorkath. But as far as I kind of agree with you on the. I don't know. I'm like it's. I think there's probably very few things in the game like this, but I'm kind of like opposed to the idea of the Huey, the dragon hide, and so I've avoided it because I don't like that it's in the game. I like that you're not dependent on clues for prayer boosting dragon hide, but I hate that you take something that has all these different colors and variety to it, and then you replace it with one thing. It would be like essentially if there was one of the graceful colors that had a little bit better run regeneration, and then you lose all of that variety and customization with it, and it just becomes, it's RuneScape, so we get best in slot and no questions asked. And it is, it's kind of the worst looking one, and they make that, so I don't know. I haven't felt the need to go there, even if it is a little bit better prayer bonus. And I also haven't really had a gear for it. I did finally get the dual mox, which is like the best in slot there. So I probably will go there eventually. Tome of Earth that is the one thing I do want from there. But I don't know. I haven't been interested in it, but I have seen people liking it. I have seen it. It has, going back, it is seemed to be enjoyable group content. So I'll give it that, but not for me personally.
Yeah. Nope, that's fair. That is totally fair. But that's it for our PV. We might be missing stuff, but hey, that's PVM in a nutshell. 2024. It's been a pretty good year. We got a good spread of things. We got a really great spread of things. We got some end game with the Forest Coliseum. We got some step belower with Araxor, and then we got some like mid game stuff with Huey Quaddle and Forest Coliseum, and maybe even things a little bit lower in scale with Scurious and Undead Pirates. I think it's been pretty successful in the PVM category. Mm-hmm. Next, let's look at, we usually have like a major update section, but there hasn't been a whole lot. I have like 3 things on this list, which doesn't seem right, but we can just look at it. We have the Varlamore updates, part 1 and part 2. Both were pretty cool with some major things, but Varlamore as a whole, I don't know, just a huge expansion in territory in this game. We got a lot of land added, which is fun. And Varlamore is pretty cool. I think it's a cool area. Do you have any, summarized thoughts of the Varlamore region?
Yeah, I think that like summarized thoughts of Varlamore is they proved that they could learn from their mistakes with Kourend, and they released a fleshed out, interesting stuff all around new area. And they like part of what, even just the going back to the meaningless, little mini quests or whatever, the novice level quests, just having an area that, if somebody knew nothing about the game and they went from Lumbridge to Varlamore and not feeling like this is everything, the tone of everything is different. Like there's only Grandmaster quests here and there's only, this kind of stuff. They did such a good job of making it feel like this could have been something that had been in the game all along.
Totally. And I love like the vibe of it. Like it feels just like looking at like the city design, it's like feels very ancient. Like it feels like it's been around for a long time. It feels like it could be even older than some of the mainland cities. I like how it seems like it kind of has a theme around if Kourend, it always felt like very Game of Thrones inspired because it was all about these family houses and killing each other and kind of fighting for power to be the king of the entirety of Krend. And then you have Varlamore, which seems to be a little bit more spiritual, maybe. Like I get a lot more like cults and like religious vibes, but like not even like the gods that, you know, the main Gielinor would worship. Is this still Gielinor?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Gielinor still, or is this a new continent? Like, is that Zaya, Gielinor and Zaya?
Oh yeah, I guess yeah. Zaya. I mean, it's part of Zaya. Yeah.
And is Gielinor a continent?
I thought Gielinor was like the world.
Was that the world?
Yeah.
Let's look. Gielinor. Yeah. Okay. So that's the world. And yeah, you're right. That is the whole world. Okay. So whatever the heck the continent is that the mainland is on, then you have Zaya. Yeah, I like how it has like its own gods that it seems like these cults they're dealing with, and they really leaned into like the Roman vibe too, which I liked because it seems cool. It's like, oh yeah, this ancient civilization that's probably been around forever, and it's still operating in even though Rome isn't really, you know, it's not how it was. But anyways, Varlamore is pretty big. And the other major updates I got here is the mobile client. We got this like UI update, which is probably not as big of a deal, but since I was playing, maybe selfishly I put this on here because I'm playing a lot on mobile, and I found this new update with like the hotkeys and stuff to just be amazing. Like I love it so much. I love the new mobile client.
Yeah, I agree.
It's great. And then I have leagues, and then I meant to look up what number of leagues just recently came out, but it's, you know, the echoes leagues, right? The raging echoes. It's leagues 5. League number 5. So this one just has come out. I haven't touched it because I've been playing my iron. I haven't been paying attention too much about it because I've been on my iron. I haven't done any theory crafting on like builds or how this stuff works. All I can tell you is that people say they've been having so much fun with it. There's a few people in the clan who are playing it on like different accounts because they want to try different builds, which is I didn't see much of that for previous leagues. So.
Yeah, I haven't touched it either, but I can tell you that I'm hoping for us to get someone on the podcast who has done it, and hopefully we can get that out soon and hear from somebody who actually participated in it, because I know, I've heard the same thing. Everybody seems to agree this is the best one yet.
Cool. That's very cool. Next, so yeah, very small category. Usually this is bigger. And then we have had this category like every year before, but I should have deleted this when I realized there's only 2 things going to be on it. So this is quality of life. But I think we're getting so much quality of life that it's not even like things are just being added to the game in such a good state. They don't need to do as much quality of life these days. Whereas like previous years, this game was, you know, just mentioned it before, there was so much wrong with this game back in 2013. There was a lot to fix. But they added rune pouch presets for your runes. So you can just click one button, all your runes go right into your rune pouch. Which is awesome. Then, yeah. Yep.
I was just going to say the sign of good QOL is when you say, I cannot believe we used to do it the way before this. And that's the rune pouch. Oh my God. It's so much good. Cleaner.
Yes. Yeah. I love when they add something. You're like, wow, I didn't realize how much I needed this. Mm-hmm. And then I don't, okay. So really we only had one thing on this because the other quality of life thing I put was the combat changes to magic, ranged, melee, but we've already kind of that's the elemental mage and the the broad bolts, not the broad bolts, the bolts, I forget what the names are, but you know what I mean. Range kind of had their own treatment of like weaknesses, and with the bolts have a damage type, arrows have a damage type, the darts have a damage type, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, nothing there. And then nerfs, we usually have nerfs, and I got nothing on here. I got the Fang nerf. Mm-hmm. So that happened. People were unhappy about that, including myself. So actually, I didn't really care too much. So we can delete that. Okay, but now we can look at the misc category. This is just a bunch of random things that we threw on here because we couldn't really find a category. And, you know, this is also, I feel like, Jagex spreading out. And some of this stuff isn't even fully related to RuneScape. So the first one on the list here, we have the official RuneScape forums shut down. I was a huge forum person back in the day, like way back in the day. I just loved going on the forums. There's all these like different types of games and these different types of posts. People would be tracking, like, I'm going to kill 1,000 Abbey demons and I'm going to record every kill. Like there's like, we have YouTube videos like that, but before YouTube, people were just doing on the forums. A lot of buying and selling on the forums, a lot of finding clans. I was recruited into multiple coal mining companies, which were just like basically pyramid scams. Pyramid schemes that, I was always at the bottom though, like worked really hard to get someone else a bunch of coal so they could sell. And I got like 25% of the money for it. But yeah, will you ever get big into are you sad the forums are shutting down at all?
No, I mean, the forum still exists. It's Reddit and YouTube. I mean, and, Discord. It's just evolution. Those conversations are also happening just in different places now. So it's just progress and evolution.
Yeah, I'm always like it always throws me off when I accidentally stumble across like an old forum. So like I work in podcasting as my full-time job, and sometimes I'm trying to find different guests for things. I'm trying to hunt them down, and sometimes I'm like, as I'm searching for them on the internet, like I might find myself in this really obscure forum, and I'm like looking at it, and it's like you can look at some categories, and it's like last post was 2022, like 2 years ago, and you're like, oh man, this thing is like gets like 5 to 10 people on it, maybe a month to comment and stuff. Those old forums are like a relic of the past. Brutal. Next, okay, this was just randomly thrown in here because it seemed quite interesting, but Brighter Shores came out, which is it's a new game. It's not even made by Jagex, but the reason I added it here was because Andrew Gower, the big daddy of RuneScape, the daddy who left us, went to the store to get back cigarettes, and then he made a new game. This is his new family, the Brighter Shores family. He's like, he's moved on. But this new game came out, and it's very similar to old school RuneScape in so many different ways. But a passion project of Andrew Gower's. Have you had a chance to play this at all?
No, honestly, I don't intend to. I've heard good things about it, but it kind of looks a lot more like RS3 than OSRS to me.
It's like the graphics might be closer to RS3, but the gameplay I think is closer to OSRS, and some of it is like closer to like old school, or some of it's closer to RuneScape Classic. Like that's how badly some of the skills are designed. But it's got an interesting system. Like you basically like they're broken down into episodes, which will have like quests, and these new areas will be like episode 1, episode 2. But like a lot of your skills are locked behind the episode areas. And it's basically, imagine you start off in Lumbridge, that's episode 1, and you only have access to wood cutting, and you have access to fishing, and maybe attack and strength, but no defense, and no range, no mage. So you only get like a really small, like a couple of the skills that we have in this game. And then when you go to episode 2, which might be Varrock, you get some more skills. And then I think the idea is once they add like episode 10, you'll start having like multiple skills interacting with each other. It's a bit of a different system, especially because every episode, your combat level resets and you get a new attack style to train. So it's a very odd system. I think it's actually kind of cool. I think it's going to be really cool once it's more fleshed out. It's only in early access, but it's a problem a lot of people have had with the game, that your skills are like tied behind quests.
That sounds
basically
like a bad idea.
Yeah, it's very strange. But anyways, came out. Next, we have kind of in the same note, there was like a survey that went out for invites to test some new RuneScape game that they're working on. So not a lot of information is out for this, but the fact that they were like sending out the surveys, it's like the form to get like these alpha test invites. It's pretty interesting. So I think this might go back to like the survey they did years ago when they were asking like if you could have another RuneScape game a game set in the RuneScape universe, what type of game would it be? And you got to like fill out all this information and give your thoughts on it. So really interesting. Again, it kind of links to my feelings of like, oh, this reminds me of Warhammer, where like one day it's not just going to be RuneScape. We're going to have like maybe a couple RuneScape games that connect to each other, but they're very different. And we might have all these books. We might have a TV show at one point. Could you imagine a RuneScape TV show? Anyways, I wonder if they're going into a thing where they're like investing in the RuneScape setting and not the RuneScape game, which is kind of like how Warhammer, I think, does it. Again, maybe it's just because I got super into Warhammer and now I'm like projecting all the things that I think are cool about that hobby into RuneScape. But yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of game related stuff. The board game RuneScape Kingdoms released to the public this year. So I got it from Kickstarter and it is a really cool game. But now you can go out and buy it if you want. It seems really neat. I haven't really had a chance to play it a whole lot because I can't convince anyone to play this like, RPG RuneScape game with me.
Yeah, I know.
My wife said yes, but I wasn't going to force her to do that because I don't think she would.
We need to put it on Tabletop Simulator or something so we can play it.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we got my kid Candyland for Christmas this year. Or he got Candyland for Christmas this year. I don't remember who gave it to him. Maybe it was Santa. I gotta be careful. There's a few times I forgot like a gift was given to him by Santa and not something else. And I was like, oh, Grandma gave that to you. It's like, I thought Santa did. Yep. I forgot.
My world is destroyed.
And then they also released RuneScape, a tabletop RPG. So like D&D. We can like role play it. Very cool. RuneFest is making a comeback. They have these tickets that are, on sale right now for 2025. And I feel like RuneFest has been gone for like 4 years at this point. So that's really cool. I think you can make the trip out there. Some RuneFest, got your tickets?
Absolutely not. That would be, that'd be a mortgage to try to fly over there. I wish, though.
Quite expensive. Yeah, me too. Maybe next year. We'll see. In terms of music, we got a metal mixtape, drum and bass, Christmas albums that came out. Was there more or was that it?
I think those are the officially released ones.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Got a favorite?
Yeah.
I really like the metal one.
The metal one is awesome. So good. I listen to it all the time. The drums and bass one it's all right. I mean, that's not generally my favorite type of music anyway, but and the Christmas, it's also like Christmas one's just cute.
I haven't even heard the Christmas one yet, but I do like drum and bass, but it's very like UK drum and bass. Like it has that, like if you listen to drum and bass music, there's like a certain feel from like, I don't know, it's like jungle music and stuff.
But that metal one's incredible. I mean, I love it.
It's so cool. And they got a bunch of other ones you can check out too. They're great. All these like official mixtapes are releasing. They're so cool.
Yeah.
On top of that, they released some novels this year, The Gift of Guthix and The Fall of Hollowvale. God, like I really need to check these out. I still have to read the other RuneScape novels. I tried to read them again like a year or so ago, but I just like, I don't know. It starts off a little slow. It didn't suck me in fast enough, but I wonder if these newer ones, how they are. Do you think you're going to read them?
No, I don't. More because I have a growing bookshelf of books that I still need to read. And, it's just hard to read a book as an adult,
Yeah, I've been turned on to the audiobooks. Oh, I'm checking right now if there's a RuneScape audiobook, but I'll throw it on when I'm like playing RuneScape at night. And it was good. It took me a bit to learn how to do it. Like I had to re-listen to the first audiobooks I was listening to. I had to like go back and re-listen to them again because they were just I just wasn't able to pay full attention to it.
Yeah.
No, there is no RuneScape audiobooks. Oh man.
Let's make our own. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we could. We got graphic novels, The Untold Stories of the God Wars. That's sick. I would love to read those. I haven't read a graphic novel in a long, long time, but used to be big into comics and all that. Deathmatch banning. So Deathmatch got banned. Surprise, surprise.
Yep. That was inevitable.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where to put this. I was gonna put this as a major update, but I don't know. And it felt like maybe it didn't deserve that title. Deadman Mode Armageddon. Maybe it did though, because this seemed to be a bigger one than usual with cosmetic rewards. But again, I just was super out of the loop on it. I wasn't really following it. I don't even remember seeing much about the tournament.
Yeah, it didn't seem to make any headlines, which for Deadman Mode is kind of a good thing because there wasn't a huge controversy, it seems like. which is usually, part of Dead Man mode. But yeah, PvP. So I wasn't really following it at all.
Yeah, fair. So yeah, that's the miscellaneous category. And then we have the last category here, which is the anticipated updates for 2025. And this isn't really like 2025. This is more of like things we know are coming out, but we don't really know when for some of them. So we have HD graphics, which they've teased. They've showed like screenshots and stuff. I would love to see our graphics get updated. I would be so into that. Super excited. Are you like a low detail? Like how do you care about the graphics at all, or do you like the original?
I like the GPU plugin kind of max settings, but not the 117. I actually don't mind the 117 if they could get some tweaks and stuff, but I don't want the game to start looking like RS3 or anything where it looks different, like the way that things move and the way that that kind of stuff. But I do love all the performance and enhancements from HD mode, like just things being cleaner and smoother and stuff. I do love all of that. And I don't, if they could, like, there's just certain areas in 117 that just look like amazing. And if they could get that quality across the board, I would be totally a fan of that. So yeah, I think, and once again, if Jagex is doing it, it'll be integrated into the game and it'll be much more, it'll be much less processor heavy. It'll be much more optimized. So from that perspective as well, I'm excited for it.
Cool. A little optimization. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The plugin API, which is basically just going to allow, how people make RuneLite plugins. Well, you can make it for you can officially make them for the game. The main thing that I think is cool, it's going to be mobile friendly. So you can bring in these plugins to your mobile client, which is going to be super cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
We got Project Xenorus, which is basically private servers, illegal private servers, which is, yeah, okay. I'm not, I don't know how I feel about that. It's cool. I love the idea of it, but I don't know how. I can't see myself not playing the main game.
It's a big we'll see.
Yeah. Wrathmaw, which I'm pretty sure got canned, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about, like a wilderness boss that got like, poor Mank, like Manked. He's like a old school RuneScape player that got a job at Jagex, and this was like one of his first big pitches, and like everyone was like, "You need fire him."
Yeah,
like they were not happy with it. And I thought it had some cool ideas, but it's tough. I think you pitch a wilderness idea that's not great, and people are going to have so much fun just talking about how bad it is. It's like with is this a bad place to go into? There's like a lot of people who like love Elon Musk, and there's a lot of people who hate Elon Musk. Like he's a very polarizing figure these days.
Okay,
and there's people who hate him so much that they also hate like anything connected, so like Cybertrucks and stuff. So like they make it they if something bad happens to a Cybertruck, they get like really excited to like shit on it. And I think a lot of people feel the same way about like the wilderness and like PvP updates, where like they maybe don't like it because maybe they just had so many bad experiences getting PK'd. But when they release they pitch a boss that's like, maybe they should have like tweaked a few things. Like I think it might have been a great idea as a V3 or V2 if they went back to the drawing board, but like people were like hated on it so much that it's like, yeah, we're never going to get anything close to this pitched again.
Yeah. I mean, the picture they painted was essentially like, the idea of I run out to kill the boss and then somebody comes up and stabs me in the back while I'm trying to kill the boss is what I got from it. And yeah, I think that's why it didn't sound fun, because it was basically like try to kill this boss with these other people trying to kill you. And I think, if you've, in the wilderness, it's kind of for people like, I'll just say people like me, a lot of times it's very binary in the wilderness where you either don't have someone attacking you or you die. Like the idea of getting away, and there's obviously skill issue, but it's like, it's not like, oh, it'll be so much fun to like try to avoid these people and like get away from them if they attack me. It's like, if people pop up, I'm going to die. And for something that's so centralized and like on this schedule and stuff, I think that's why it was not popular to non-PvPers.
Oh, for sure. And I think like, it would just get locked down by clans. I think it had like a cooldown system where it's like once every 4 hours it spawned or something. So like you make I love the idea of a world boss or a roaming boss and that sort of stuff. I love the idea of it being in the wilderness. But then, of course, you really have to put in these measures to make it non-PvP friendly. You can't give the edge to PvPers. You have to give the edge to PvMers. I think that's why the wilderness bosses work so great, because it is so easy to turn around and slap a PvPer, because really, if you've got the wilderness, the rev weapons, you kind of got some, those are tools that work with you, that work against the PvPers. You can slow them down, you poison them or whatever it is.
In my opinion, I think my pitch, I think I might have said this when it was first coming out and pitched. My ideal version of this would be a kind of reverse bounty hunter system where a PvMer runs out to kill Rathma, and then a PvPer is assigned that person to kill, and then another PvPer is assigned that person to protect. So they're basically like fighting over protecting, like one person's defending them, one person is trying to get them. And somehow that works out with drops or whatever. I don't know. But I mean, it could be as simple as if the target dies, the PvPer, it has access to the drop from the monster. And if they are able to kill it, the person who protected them gets access to the drop or something like that. It'd be really interesting.
I love that. That's a cool idea. Of course, again, you got these PvP updates need a lot of workshopping, but like it reminds me of Assassin's Creed, where like, if you ever played the multiplayer ones, I only played it a few times, but I thought it was really cool, where like you had to hunt someone and then they were hunting someone and that person was like hunting you. But you didn't really know who was who. You had to like, the whole point was like hiding in plain sight and then trying to figure out which, is this an NPC or is that it's like the prop hunt. You're like, is that a real player? And then you want to get them. But yeah, cool stuff. Rathma did not do so well. I'm sure we will see the Desert Maw at some point. I think that's what RuneScape 3 has.
Get some dune sandworms.
Yeah, exactly. And then we got the Royal Titans, which is this the Ice Giant boss and I guess the Fire Giant boss, which I knew it was only a matter of time, but here we are. They seem all right.
Yeah, I think I think it'll be a good update. I'm excited for some of the rewards coming from them as well. But it'll, another mid-level boss potentially. We'll see.
Free to play. I think that's huge.
Is it free to play?
I would hope so. I hope they are, because to me, like a giant boss is like free to play in my head. So I like the idea of having, the giant, like in Fire Giants finally coming to free to play. That'd be so sick. I don't see why not. I feel like they'd be perfect free to play. You get Rune Scimitar, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they're busted, but and then last we have sailing. I put a question mark. Because it's probably not coming out in 2025, but they've been releasing some updates on it, and I think it's in a really cool place. You can sail. They showed what sailing boats is like. You can be a merchant ship and you can put up a bunch of like spices on your boat and sail it to another port where you get some money and some experience. So they have like these like delivery quests and all of these cool things. And I'm really excited about it. I was on Twitch and I read the chat and I saw everyone was not excited for it like I was. And I was, I was sitting there being like, well, I'm not happy with everyone's attitude in Twitch chat. Okay. You know what I mean? So I just ended up closing it because these people suck. Like, I thought we were going to be, positive energy. I don't know. I'm not sure. But sailing, yeah. Are you a hater or a lover of sailing? You have to be one or the other. You don't get to choose.
In the context of what you just said, I will hold I'll plead the fifth.
Which one's that? Is that with the guns?
No. That's just choosing to not say anything.
Okay. So I think in Canada we have, what's the fifth? It is. Parliament and the Legislative Assembly must hold a session at least once a year. So that's our fifth.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
I plead it all the time, and they're like, "All right, we'll make sure."
I never thought about that being an America-centric thing. No, yeah, I'm very concerned about sailing. I think for me,
what do you worry about? Do you think, because some people think it's going to be like an EOC for RuneScape?
No,
like it's going to change so much of it.
And I understand that my opinion is very common and is not like unique at all. But like, I think for me, it's just basically like everything they're talking about that isn't sailing sounds exciting as far as content expansion and islands and activities and stuff. But just everything I've seen from the actual sailing of it looks tedious and not very fun. But
that's fair.
I'm also of the opinion that it's going to come in the game no matter what. So I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible. Because I don't want to not like the game.
I'm also like 3 years into my dad era. So like, of course, I pick up a hobby where I'm painting these miniature figurines. I just chose like sci-fi instead of model trains. But I did download American Truck Simulator a few weeks ago. Like I'm just starting to do a lot of dad things. And I think playing a video game where I'm sailing boats probably fits into those categories as well.
Feels like a very dad
American
thing.
Truck. Well, American Truck Driver, you're literally just driving on a road in like real time. So it's like took me 40 minutes to drive from one place to another. And I'm like, oh, this is normal scaling. Like it's not scaled down. Like this would be the exact same if I was actually in this truck driving to this place. And then, yeah, it was, I didn't get into it. I didn't really get into that game, but
I don't blame you. Is that game have an Iron Man mode where you got to go get your own gas like out of the ground?
You start off with like a pickup truck. You got to like upgrade to the.
Honestly, that sounds like a better game.
That is something. You start off with like, yeah, maybe like a paper boy, which is a bag. And you have a bicycle, and you're like delivering mail or something, and then you move up, and yeah, that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's 2025, and I guess in 2024, it's been a pretty good year. I think 2025 is. I think we say this a lot. It's like the golden year, but I think this is a new chapter we're going to look back on. I think in like 10 years, the RuneScape hobby is going to have fundamentally changed in one way or another. And I think it might be something where you have people who love RuneScape, but they don't play any of the video games. Maybe they're just like super into like the books and super into the painting the miniatures. There's going to be RuneScape miniatures one day. And there's like a tabletop game, and like, I'm going to go with the Goblin Army. You guys went with the Dragonkin Army. At least you didn't go with the Elven Army because they're not meta this year. That'd be kind of cool too. I'd be down for that, I think. But
what?
Yeah. How do you think RuneScape's going to change? No, I should say. So 2024 has happened. We've reflected on the past. Now, looking forward, how do you feel? What do you think? What do you think? What if you could predict what's to come for this video game, this hobby, and like clearly it's becoming more than just old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3, where they got another game in the makes that they're working on, and we're seeing these other properties.
I'm gonna do something I really try not to do very often, but I'm gonna be pessimistic for a little bit because I'm curious. I wonder if everything goes bad in 2025. This is what I think will be the most likely the cause of it. Which is, I worry that the things that have been kind of new and a welcome change in 2024 will start to feel old and repetitive in 2025. And specifically the idea of niche gear upgrades. I worry that they're going to keep pushing those, and it's going to just feel like
too many.
Yeah, it's going to be like every gear you're going to get it for one level, and then you're going to feel like you have to get the next best in slot, like the next level. And then you're going to get to the point where you just start skipping all of it because it's way more work to like go get that drop, obviously speaking from Iron Man perspective, but and so I worry that, and then, like there's going to be 25 mid-level group bosses, and we know the XP scaling in this game. People are going to be raids ready, and they're not going to want to go back to all these mid-level bosses. And so
Yeah.
that would be that's my pessimistic potential for 2025 is just they just keep hammering home these same concepts and it starts to get really stale and overwhelming. I hope not though. I mean, I still love everything they've been doing, and I'm still optimistic, but that would be the way that everything could just kind of turn sour that I hope it doesn't. The other really pessimistic thing is if they try to push sailing out before it's ready, just to, some kind of like meeting stockholder expectations kind of a thing.
And they release it like undertuned so they can buff it. And you're just like,
yeah, it's
okay.
like day one is I can go in this circular little pond in my rowboat, and then they're like, we'll add the rest later.
Imagine you go tubing, like you could like be in your boat, like a motorboat, and I could like, maybe all I have is a tube, and I'm like, can I tie it to yours? And you,
oh man, dude, it's been so long since I went tubing. This sounds so fun.
Tubing's wild.
I might be too old for that now. Oh, we used to do it a lot.
Yeah, you might be the guy like has to drive the boat, or at the very least, you have to let the kids do it, and you got to sit at the back of the boat and just watch them having fun.
Or
and then you look away for 2 seconds and they've fallen out.
Or I'm like, all right, guys, let me do it first, and then I'll drive the boat, and then I like hurt my neck and my back, and I have to sit on the shore for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I'm just, all I can think about is how I'll never be able to do that again, and how time only moves forward, never backwards, and just have this existential crisis while they're having fun tubing.
You realize like all you can do in life is play RuneScape. It's like,
it was never a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, fun stuff. I think you're right about the niche thing. There are the niche items. We have a lot of niche items, and it's to the point that I'm like, oh, they are like they're starting to run out. Like we have an Earth wand, or no, I mean the Tome of Earth. Like, is it really that good? I guess it's kind of good for like.
Well, yeah, and they're going to release the Tome of Air now, just almost like as a formality, just to complete the set, even if the game needs it or not.
Yeah, so I agree. It does seem like we're running out of niches. I was like thinking about this the other day about like what major update, like when RuneScape 3 brought out like engineering, like that. I think that like fundamentally changed a lot. I have no idea. I've never even done engineering. I don't know why I use that as the example. But my other example I was thinking of was Yu-Gi-Oh! And I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! In a long time. But they came out with these like new class of like monsters in the game, and they were just like way stronger. So then everyone ends up using them. Like I was thinking, could RuneScape? We're gonna run out of niche things soon. We're gonna need something kind of. Like people like being strong. People are gonna want to feel like a huge step up in power. So I had this idea. What if like there is a main quest in the game, this new ultra super duper legendary master quest? It's like this new tier they have, and it's really, really, really hard to do. It's like doing the Inferno times 10, but it's part of the quest. You complete the quest, it opens the doors to this new area called, instead of Gielinor, we'll call it like dark. We'll call it Dark Gielinor. So then he goes in, and then everything is like dark, and it's like a little bit mysterious. But all the monsters are harder, kind of like the Echo bosses in Leagues. I haven't been following Leagues, but I know that there's Echo bosses in it. But then suddenly you get a whole new tier of weapons that are like way stronger, but they take so long to get. And instead of having the special bar, the special attack, you do have the special attack bar, but then they have another special attack bar that's for something else. And then there's a way to like charge it, and you can do all these cool things. I just thought about this idea when I was on the toilet this morning. So it's not fully fleshed out, but like I could definitely see there's being a place where we get this whole new tier of extremely overpowered gear, but it's like very, it's not like you can use it everywhere. Like maybe you really want to pick and choose when you can use it. This isn't, as I'm saying, this is a pretty bad idea, but if I have a couple more weeks to work on it, I think it'll get there.
You know what would sell me on this quest?
If
it's the one where we kill the wise old man.
Then maybe, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, I'll work on it. I'll have something for you next week.
Okay, yeah, have it on my desk.
But yeah, there's our New Year's episode. Gosh, we've been going on for a while. My wife's gonna kill me. Anything we want to wrap up with? I guess let's just end it here. Anything you want to wrap up with for the year?
No. I guess I will say, you know, since this is 1 year of me doing this, I am thankful. People have been very kind to me joining this podcast, and I haven't had, I don't think I've had any negative thing come my way from anybody. So I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, you know what? I should have said too. It's been so much fun having you on the podcast and doing it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's been a year. And you know what? I've been a little bit like, you know, kind of just disappear for months on an end. But then you've been doing your solo episodes, and those have been great. I've listened to a few of them, not all of them, but I hear great things from tons of people as well that they really enjoy them. And yeah, it's cool. I think I like your idea of the all about episode that we were talking about this before, like off air, but just like sitting down and really diving into different categories with different people. I think that's great. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. And I think we might be making some changes with the regular episodes as well. Trey, you and I were talking about it a bit, just because like, you know, we've been following kind of a similar format over these years. So I don't know. Let's go. What we should like lean into, like, we should be like an audio drama. That'd be kind of cool.
Ooh.
Or like a no, that wouldn't work. Anyways, we'll think about it. But yeah, I don't know. Send us your feedback as always.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll do the housekeeping here. We have an email, TheWildernessPodcast@gmail.com. Our Discord is discord.gg/TheWilderness. Yep. And we have a clan and game, Wild. Feel free to join it. Come hang out and watch movies with Trey and play some board games and all that fun stuff that goes on. Anything else you want to say before we get on out of here?
Nope.
Okay, we need some music of the week, don't we? Let's do, is there like I'm going to type in year, because I'm sure there's got to be like a song that's like end of the year. Oh yeah, there's Yesteryear, but we definitely played that before. We're going to do, let's just do Yesteryear. Oh, let's do Christmas. What's the Christmas song? Let's see, Christmas. Oh, they don't have it. Maybe we do 2025. Oh, 2024. Let's see. Oh, there's 795 music tracks.
Really? Wow.
Oh, I can't find it. We'll just do Yesteryear.
Okay.
Again. Okay. Trey, this was fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and thanks everyone for listening, and let us know how your year went. Like, tell us, did you have a good year? Was this do you think this was a good year for your account? Or like maybe not as great of a year, or you can talk about, is it a great year for the game as a whole? Yeah, feel free to send it in and let us know what's changed in your life in the past year. Yeah, and then I think that's it. Normally we do like resolutions, but I honestly I couldn't even tell you what my resolutions would have been. All right, guys, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Bye.
See you next time.